What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. And we got a lot to go over tonight. We're going to do the usual where we go over the snap counts. We sit down there and we break down all of the PFF grades. We look at some next-gen stats. And, you know, I don't really have any articles I want to go over, but I do have stuff that I do want to talk about. And, you know, I've been giving a weekly State of the Dolphins address. You know, I want to do the same thing. I'm going to do it every Monday. And Nick, we need the Flores bomb. Well, I said today, if Flores goes, I'll drop the bomb. No problem doing that whatsoever. So, you know, we're going to talk about, let's start off, and I'm going to encompass a whole bunch of stuff into the address to Dolphins Nation that I do weekly. So let's start this off. So obviously the topic, of discussion, you know, the whole narrative has changed, right? When Tua was the starting quarterback of this team and before he was injured, it was, he's the problem. He's the problem. He's the problem. He's the problem. Now, since I've said, right, since Tua's been hurt, it's been a blessing in disguise in the sense of it's exposed all the issues, the offensive line issues, the coaching issues, the play calling issues. Now it's starting to expose the defensive issues, but, you know, a lot of issues that I'd been saying were going on well beyond Tua, even into the offseason, got exposed when Tua was out. You know, people tried, you know, to sell y'all sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops that Brissett was going to be better, and Brissett hasn't shown that by any stretch of the imagination that he's better than Tua Tagovailoa leading this team. And anyways, you know, when it comes to the coaching, when it comes to the offensive line, the personnel decisions for this team, a lot of things we've talked about, you know, the lack of commitment to the run, the coaching turnover for offensive coordinator and positional coaches. You know, a lot of it follows at the feet of Brian Flores. And, you know, I had heard a lot of stuff behind the scenes about Brian Flores that, you know, wasn't really overly flattering. And, you know, yesterday, if people did not see what happened, I'm going to show you what happened. But shout out to Rhino Sith. But what happened was this. Yesterday, Perform, where Tua trains, where Will Fuller trains, where Jordan Scarlett trains, amongst a whole other slew of players like J.K. Dobbins, Devin Singletary, etc. Lynn Bowden trains there as well. From the Twitter, a bunch of tweets started being fired off, and let's just jump into them. Let's talk about them right away. Let's just go into them just to show you guys what the deal is. All right. So let's start off with tweet number 1, and then we're gonna get into the deleted tweet here. So this was tweeted at 4:01 yesterday. Ross is pissed. Team is bad, but if Tua wins next week against the Jags, it's for sure the defense and Flores coaching. Laughing emoji, crying emoji. This kid deserves better. He got the shit end of the stick and above all has succeeded, in quotations. Maybe not your idiotic opinion, but the numbers don't lie. Then after that came out, a since deleted tweet came out after Perform. I have confirmed. I talked to Nick Hicks today. This was Nick Hicks. You know, I talk to Nick Hicks more than anyone in this community. So when I hear people talking shit about Nick Hicks or running their mouth, I'm like, you don't even know the guy. Like, shut your mouth. Because people are trying to turn on Nick Hicks. Like, give me a break. The guy's telling you. And I'm going to get into it, where we're going with this. So Fred Ski replied, coming back to a team that quit on their coach while he's fighting for his job. Perform responded, quit. This coach is hard to even talk to. how much harder do you think he is to play for? Child, please. So people are attacking, people are listing players that perform trains and being like, oh, well, why are these people injured? What kind of like injury prevention? Like, what do you think they're out here? They're here to train athletes. Like, they're number one. Obviously, they work on injury prevention, but it's football. Injuries happen daily, weekly, at practice, in games. Give me a break on that one. So that's the weakest argument I can ever hear someone throwing. But someone tell me where Nick is lying. Because if you could just go do a search. Phinside the NFL, Brian Flores hot seat. It's going to take you to an episode from a couple months ago. I opened up the show with Ball Game and Damien, or Ball Game and Martin. It's one of those two combinations. But Ball Game's there, 110%. And about 10 minutes in, I start talking. And this is back when I was telling all of y'all I confirmed that Flores wanted Herbert, But I if you actually go back and listen to that, I went into a bunch of the personality traits I'm hearing about Brian Flores. All right? I told y'all, from what I've been told, he lied about having lunch with Tua during the offseason in that Zoom session. I've been telling all y'all he's been not telling y'all the truth, and he's not what the PR team at the Miami Dolphins try to convey him as to all of you and what he does. I've told y'all that he wants everyone in the room to know he's the alpha. I've questioned, and you all have heard me question, why are you surrounding yourself with a bunch of yes men, inexperienced young coaches with no one that can challenge you or threaten you? I, in fact, said on this show, if everything goes wrong and you got to fire Brian Flores, you will literally have no one on that staff you could make an interim head coach. Why do you think that is? Brian Flores is the definition of play the game, don't let the game play you. And I've been telling y'all for time, and there's people who have been backstage with me who are far more privy to the information I put out to the public. EM, Josh Houts, Rhino's here, Damien's heard things, Pyro's heard things. The list goes on. You know what I mean? Clump's heard things from me that the majority of you, 99.9% of you had never heard, and the 0.1% of the people who come backstage. Like, that's what I'm sitting here saying. What Perform is saying should not be a shock to anyone. I've been trying to tell you, when we talked about the Watson thing, that's why I was thrown off by the reports that, they were trying to make it look like it was just Ross that wanted him, because what I told y'all back on that same stream was Ross signed off, then the allegations hit, Ross pulled back. Greer and Flores were still snooping around. They still wanted it. And I told y'all what I was told. When Brian Flores wants something, he's stubborn enough and he's hard-headed enough that he will continue working and grinding to go get that. I even warned all y'all that things that I've heard, he wants full control. He doesn't want to have to answer to anyone except Stephen Ross. Now, I also followed that up with saying him and Greer don't have issues with each other. It's just Flores wants to be Bill Belichick. He wants full control. So none of this stuff should be surprising any of you. Like, if I dropped the bomb on all of y'all that I've been talking about for months, your guys' head would spin, because all it does is back up this alpha personality thing that he's got going on here. Listen, what did I tell all of you? I told you this is how it went down. Follow along with me right now. Okay? Follow with me right now. If you remember back at the Combine in 2020, with Tua Tagovailoa's Combine interview, there was a source that went to Safed Dean. You can literally search Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, combine interview, Safed Dean, and it'll pop up. I shared it on Twitter today. There was an article right after the combine interview. Remember, a family source, a Tua Tagovailoa family source, said that they got confused in a weird vibe from the interview. The combine interview. Flores was cold. He seemed disinterested. Remember, they were questioning whether the Dolphins even wanted. They were questioning whether the Dolphins even wanted him. Okay? Do you know who that family source was? Go read the article, and now read the article under this knowledge. That family source was Galu Tagovailoa. That was Tua's father. I've been told as soon, and I put this on the Patreon weeks and weeks ago, so this is not new information to the Patreons. Galu, after that combine interview, made 2 phone calls. One to Safed Dean to say what had gone on. Number 2 was to Stephen Ross under the pretense of what the hell just happened. What did we just go through there? And the reason why those calls were made and the reason why those impressions were taken was this. Everyone wants to know what the answer of why Tua was a Dolphin. I'll tell you what the answer is. Again, my Patreons know this. I told them this weeks ago. Months ago, actually. From what I understand, at the 2020 Iron Bowl, Alabama-Auburn, Stephen Ross and Chris Greer told Tua Tagovailoa directly, if you declare, we will draft you. And I was told one of the reasons why, one of the reasons why, at the same time, I was told one of the reasons why Flores didn't want Tua was because of his father, and he did not like the involvement of Tua's family in his career. Because you got to remember, I've tried walking down EM off this ledge, and I'll walk down all you Herbert hindsight users off this edge. Now, were there people out there who said Herbert was the guy? Yes. Were they a loud and vocal majority? Hell to the no. They were a vast minority, okay? And if you were going to hold everyone accountable, there'd be a lot of analysts, a lot of professional evaluators, a lot of team scouts that would be out of a job. Look at it this way. The Dolphins just didn't miss out on Herbert. Technically, Cincinnati should have taken Herbert over Burrow. Technically, you look at where Washington is right now, they should have taken Herbert over Chase Young. Detroit, instead of Goff, should have taken Herbert over Jeff Okudah. Hell, the Giants, they should have taken Herbert over Daniel Jones, but they didn't, and I'll tell y'all why. This is what everyone needs to start getting through their head. This is why they chose Tua Tagovailoa, people. This is not rocket science. I'm about to explain it to you. Again, research. All of this can be found by yourself. You don't need to know anyone to know this, all right? If you go back to right before the COVID restrictions came in to the draft season affecting the combine, if you go back to that, all right, if you go back to that, the only quarterback the Miami Dolphins were able to get in person and bring in for a workout was Jordan Love. That's it. They were not able to bring in Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa, or Joe Burrow for a private workout. They were allowed to bring in Jordan Love, and they brought in Jordan Love. So now you got to go back. Anyone who tells you Herbert had better college film than Tua Tagovailoa is either a liar, someone using hindsight to try and save face, or they don't know football. Because Tua Tagovailoa, this is the reason why. Tua Tagovailoa had some of the best college film of the last decade. The reason why they took him was because that's all they had to go off of. All they had was the film. That's it. They were not able to bring in any of these kids in and work them out physically and have them make throws. They weren't able to go stand there in at their pro days and watch these kids work. They didn't have pro days like how they had this year. Because remember, what was the Dolphins' big concern with Herbert? The leadership. They thought he was too quiet of a person. That's why they didn't take him. They actually didn't like it had nothing to do with physical ability with Justin Herbert. They didn't like the intangibles that they saw. They obviously misprojected them because it didn't matter in the end. But that's where it was. That's why they made this selection. If it was non-COVID and they would have got more hands on the players and better eyes, Herbert could be. But here's the thing, guys. You are lying to yourself. If you think Justin Herbert would have won Rookie of the Year last year, and I'll tell you why. He wouldn't have put up the stats he did last year. And if he didn't put up the stats last year and break the records he did, Justin Jefferson would have won Rookie of the Year. We wouldn't have got out of Herbert what the Chargers did. Go find me the Pep Hamilton he would have had tutelage under last year, because it sure as fuck wasn't Robbie Brown in Miami. He would have had no one to lean on. The transition would not have been as easy for him. And I don't want to hear the playbook nonsense either, because right after Tua made those infamous playbook comments, 2 or 3 days later, Herbert came out and said, I need to understand the offense better. I didn't know it that well last year. I need to be better at the line of scrimmage, pre-snap and post-snap, etc., etc., etc. And newsflash, that's the same core of offense that Phillip Rivers in his last year at San Diego threw for over 4,600 yards with. 4,600 yards. And the guy had a noodle arm. I'm not saying Tua Tagovailoa would be Justin Herbert, but Tua Tagovailoa would probably be in a better developmental and growth stage if he went to Los Angeles and Herbert came here. I'm not saying he'd be better than Herbert by any stretch of the imagination. I'm saying the product he is right now after 11 games would probably be better than what we have right now. We don't have a Keenan Allen. We don't have a Mike Williams. We're not even using Gesicki like how they're using Jared Cook, let alone how they used Hunter Henry last year. And Austin Eckler is Gaskin all jacked up. He is if Gaskin was a legit 3-down back. That's what Austin Eckler is. And then, he had the worst offensive line. Well, explain to me why Justin Herbert had more time to throw last year. Explain to me why the Chargers offensive line had a higher pass block win rate than the Miami Dolphins did last year. It was because where they suffered was in the run game. It wasn't in pass blocking like people are trying to make it seem. Were they great in pass blocking? No. Also, other thing was Herbert, if you go look at his pressures, a lot of his pressures were self-inflicted. And on top of that, if you go look at Herbert's yardage, half of it came after the catch. Not to take anything away from the kid. He had a phenomenal season last year. But that's the reality of the situation. Anyone trying to tell you different, there's no evidence that to tell you Herbert would be just as good as a Miami Dolphin as he is as a Charger. Buddy, go outside the quarterback position. They don't know how to use Jalen Waddle right. It took them a full season, a second off season, and 5 weeks to figure out and realize Austin Jackson wasn't a left tackle when we've been telling them for how long. It took them over it It took them over a calendar year to say, man, if we find a right tackle, Robert Hunt's the perfect right guard. Problem is, he's playing next to Jesse Davis right now, who's an absolute disaster. It took him 3 years to get something out of Dieter, and Dieter is not about to change the world. Dieter is going to be okay. You look at this. This is just, you got Gaskin averaging over 5 yards a carry. They give him 5 carries in a game. Like, what I'm sitting here and saying is, I've told all of y'all. Barry Jackson put out the report. Shad reported it. All these guys reported it. Brian Flores had just as much personnel say as Chris Grier, and Chris Grier even deferred to Brian Flores on a lot of personnel decisions. And I've said, even though I know he wanted Herbert, still doesn't mean he did not sign off on Tua Tagovailoa. Like, people need to realize, and let's take Tua's arrogance and attitude out of it and stubbornness, which seems to be the calling card of every coach that leaves there, whether they're Josh McDaniels, Matt Patricia, whoever the hell you want to name. This seems to be the calling card of they're hard to work with. I told all of y'all. Again, if you go to the Patreon, one of the things I reported, I think this is the first time I'm actually putting it out there. So, yeah, St. Michael, Tua has a well-documented injury history. Herbert does not. That's a fact. What's also a fact is if the guy has an injury history, what should be your number one priority? Protecting him. So all you're doing is proving the point and their failure and their lack of awareness of protecting him and building the offensive line properly. So all you're doing is putting more of a blame on them. Anyways, you look at Tua's going to be back this week against the Jags. And this team has not been able to win a game without Tua Tagovailoa. And all of a sudden, if he starts winning games, the excuses are going to come out. Oh, it's the easy schedule. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Well, here's the reality of the situation. Dolphin fans need to start gripping. How much better are we right now than the Jacksonville Jaguars? You got Austin Jackson. You got Robert Hunt. You got Solomon Kinley. Robert Hunt looks like he's going to be the only one that could be a starter on any other team. Because you've had so much turnover at the offensive line position. Obviously, Lemuel Jean-Pierre came in, and that's why Eichenberg was drafted, and he doesn't fit the profile of anyone that was drafted yet last year or the year before. So now we're mixing and matching. Lemuel Jean-Pierre is a Flores guy. You already know how I feel about Lemuel Jean-Pierre. I think he's out of his depth. I do not think he should be the offensive line coach. You got Grizzard, the wide receiver coach. He's either allowing or he's supporting how Waddle's being used. You should be fired. You do not know wide receivers if that's what you're doing. Again, Flores higher. Look at how many Patriots they've tried to bring in. Look at how many they got out the door. Patriots, Flores. And this whole Patriots 2.0 or Patriots Southeast, give me a fucking break, okay? The reason why we don't have an identity offensively is because how do you expect to find your own identity when all you're trying to do is steal someone else's? That's why the defense is starting to fall apart. And that was supposed to be Flores' baby. This team wasn't supposed to be throwing 39, 49, 50 times a game. The whole foundation that this team was built on was from the back end of the defense out. And now it's falling apart. So not only has he not been able to get the offensive side of the ball right in 3 seasons, now his moneymaker, his whole purpose of being in the position he's in ain't living up to the hype. Right now, here's the thing. Right now, I want to make sure. Let me look at this right now. Let me make sure on this. Let me get it right. Because if you look at our defensive rankings, and breaking news, John Gruden just informed his staff that he plans to resign as Raiders coach. So breaking news, John Gruden is going to be resigning as Raiders coach right now. So he's informed his coaching staff that it is going down. So expect a formal announcement soon. In case you didn't see, John Gruden, a bunch of details were leaked tonight about the emails he had sent. Homophobic slurs, racial slurs were used. Just some bad stuff. So it seems that right now, John Gruden will be resigning as coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. All right. The reality of it, back to the Dolphins, is right now the Dolphins have the second worst offense in the NFL and the third worst defense in the NFL statistically through 5 weeks. I've been trying to tell you guys this is bigger than the quarterback, that Watson wasn't going to fix this situation. Herbert, if we drafted him, wouldn't fix this situation. Eventually the wheels were going to fall off here. And now the wheels are starting to fall off and everyone's panicking. And the only thing people can panic about is the quarterback position. But why? Why are we panicking about the quarterback position? We are multiple offensive line pieces and a Mike linebacker away from even being ready to have that quarterback to compete for a Super Bowl with. Shout out to G Firm 456. I agree. Tua injury has been a blessing in disguise. Well, it's just exposed. But yet you still have people out here saying, well, get Watson. It'll solve. Good quarterbacks can only mask so much. He's a top 5 quarterback, Deshaun Watson is. He couldn't mask all the deficiencies last year in Houston, and they only won 4 games, and he threw for almost 5,000 yards. So he played out of his mind, and he couldn't mask the deficiencies. And he's 25 years old. Y'all are really going to trust the continued growth and development of Deshaun Watson under Brian Flores and this staff when they've shown you they can't develop talent? Hell, a further indictment on Flores and Lemuel Jean-Pierre, like I've said, is Jermaine Illuminor is one of the best interior offensive linemen in the league right now. They had him just a couple months ago and let him walk out the door. Matt Skura got kicked from center out to guard, killing it right now with the Giants next to Andrew Thomas. They had him right there, didn't utilize him. Gone, out the door. And these guys were on the cheap, and we could have been signing. Our interior could be locked down. You could have kept Skura and Illuminor, kicked Hunt back out to right tackle, had Dieter at center, and then Eichenberg at left tackle, and we'd be happier than a pig in shit right now with our offensive line. But they have listened to me in slight step as the season started, and I saw how heavily based they were in the RPO. I said, you got to get away from that. You need to go to more of a progressive-based offense, progression read-based offense. They've done that over the last 2 weeks. I thought they would do it for the Raiders game, but they didn't, and Jacoby struggled because he's not good making quick decisions in a quick decision-based offense. And they went over that the last 2 weeks, and the last 2 weeks, the offensive line has started to stabilize. Because I said we do not have the we do not have the line for this RPO quick decision, quick rhythmic offense right now. Clearly we don't. And they've gone to more of a progression read-based offense, and the offensive line is playing better right now. But it's a problem when guys on podcasts and guys on YouTube and guys on Twitter can see this before the coaching staff does. This is a problem. I'm not a football savant. How am I seeing things before this coaching staff is? This is an issue. And again, all that falls at the feet of Brian Flores. All of it. This is what I'm trying to say. People try to give him pass. I don't know what, because he won, what? Yeah, Tua ain't done shit in the league, but guess what? Going from 5 wins to 10, that don't mean shit in this league either without a playoff appearance. No one's going to remember that in 10 years. No one's going to talk about, oh, we went from 5 wins to 10 wins, and then the wheels fell off in 3 years, but what a great first 2 years on the floor. No one's going to remember that shit. That ain't nothing. No one's going to remember none of that. And this guy, it's gone to this guy's head like he just won his 6th Super Bowl, like he's Bill Belichick over here. You know we're going to remember that. It's not even a blip in the history of the NFL. Not even a fart in the history of the NFL. Not even a burp. Not even a belch. Not even a hiccup. Just another team that didn't make the playoffs. That's all it was last year. At the end of the day, that's all it was. Just another team that missed out on the playoffs. And that's it. But people want to be out here. No, I had people in my comment section this offseason telling me he's the best we've had since Shula. And I hate Adam Gase. I despise Adam Gase. But guess what? At least I got to the playoffs with Adam Gase. I'm just saying. At least Adam Gase started getting, and Tannenbaum started getting the offensive line in order. Just saying. Maybe it was for 1 year, but still. We haven't had a line since that line in 2016. And it fell apart because Brandon Albert's body fell apart. So it wasn't even on the staff. Like, stop. And it's such a narrow-sighted view to just continuously circle back to the quarterback position. If you look at this team and you think Deshaun Watson or Justin Herbert would have changed this, bro, I want what you're smoking. Wrap it up. Send it my way. Put that shit in a blunt and let me light it. Because it ain't like that right now. I'm sorry. The fact of the matter is you got to give the man praise. Because he was right. Ball game was right. The 2020 Dolphins overachieved. And hey, what did I tell you all in the offseason? People tried to say, oh, we're still in the rebuild. Oh, they still. I said, yo, you do not realize it. Expectations have arrived, my friends. The draft capital we used, the money we've used, expectations have arrived. People out here thinking rebuilds take 5 years. What are you on right now? Stop. Stop making excuses. Ross is already bad enough. He always waits 1 year too long to get rid of guys. If this continues going the way it goes, you got to make the move, man. And I love Tua. I think Tua's going to come back and win games. But at the end of the day, I fear Tua masking and extending their shelf life. Because you need to clean it. You need to clean house if you're going to make a change. None of this, oh, fire him, but let's promote from within. No. The scouting department needs to be cleaned. Everyone needs to be cleaned out. We need new philosophies and new belief systems, new ideas, and a new culture in the front office. And the reason why Flores is going to be gone with that is because, hey, you bring in a new guy and a new team into the front office, they're going to want their own guy. You do not get in the way of them trying to stick a coach on them, because you're only delaying the inevitable by a year or two. And that may even lead to the new GM and the new coach wanting their own quarterback. It is what it is. I'll tell you one thing, a new GM will not trade for Deshaun Watson because they'll not want to give up those assets. They'll want to use it themselves to get whomever their guy is. And that's all if. If you're going to clean house, clean it all. Do not do a partial. Just clean it all. I told y'all I'd back the Brinks truck up to Ozzie Newsome's house, and I would say, what do you need and what do you want to come run the Miami Dolphins? Now, I've been told by someone connected to those in the know with the Ravens that there's no way that would happen because he's on as like an advisor or something with them. So I told to get that. So my choices have always been Bieniemy with Kafka or dabble with Dorsey. And then they wipe their hands with the defensive side of the football. They bring in an experienced guy that can work with their personnel. If Dabble or Bieniemy can work with Tua, fantastic. If they want their own guy, whether that be trading for someone or drafting someone, go get to work. Do what you got to do. Now, if we're going to the college ranks, Lincoln Riley or Jim Harbaugh, please. That's and you know, I've told y'all I've not been a fan of Brian Flores, as I've heard and got to know more and more about the individual behind the scenes. I have not been a huge fan of him. Now, fast forward to like a year ago, I was a massive fan of Brian Flores, but that's because I was new to starting this channel and I wasn't talking to as many people as I was back then, et cetera, et cetera. And now that I talk to people, yeah, it's kind of changed my perspective on him. Not a lot of people like him. Let me put it that way. At least a lot of the people that I talk to don't like him. Now, fans like him. That's fine. That's fine. But those that know him, interact with him, or around people, yeah, they're not fans of him. So, hey, take that for what it's worth. I mean, if you guys saw what Omar Kelly said today, Omar Kelly basically backed up what Perform tweeted out. This is not news. This should not be news to anyone who's been watching this channel. So Brian Flores is not the saint that the Dolphins try to portray him as. Now, I think he's very, very intelligent on the defensive side of the football. I just don't think he can get the offensive side of the football right. And how long are we going to wait for that to happen? Because the problem is X and Byron Jones are getting older. Ogba has a contract coming up. And this is what I got to say too, and we'll get into like the numbers and stuff. Yes, X had a bad day, but guys, X is dealing with an injury right now from what I've been told and what I've saw today. I was told yesterday by someone that X is banged up, and I wasn't told Byron Jones is banged up, but Omar Kelly reported today that Byron Jones is banged up too. So that's, and I was told X is playing through it because he got paid. So, you know, I always have my reservations when you hire a defensive coach. Now, I said to someone, hey, you got to ask yourself the question. If you go watch Brandon Staley talk about the running game and the physicality it brings and how important it is to the offense of a team, go watch that 2-minute clip if you have never watched it. The coach of the Chargers talk about it. It was like last week or whatever. I asked someone, did they not only draft the right quarterback in Herbert, but did they also hire the right defensive-minded coach, Brandon Staley? So I still think Tua can be great. I still think Tua will be great. I just don't know if it'll be here. People need to realize my evaluation goes beyond the Dolphins, because how many players did I evaluate in this offseason cycle alone that didn't even go to the Dolphins? So my evaluation goes beyond the Dolphins. If Tua goes to Washington and balls out, if or sucks, my evaluation has to hold up to that. So people need to realize, I don't put him or my evaluation of him over this team because it goes beyond this team. But I think people just need to, in terms of with Brian Flores, I don't know. I really honestly don't know. I think there's a lot of issues with this team, and a lot of them fall at the foot of Brian Flores. And I feel if Greer is going to go down, Brian Flores kind of has to go down with him. You can't have one go down without the other, especially when, you go back to 2019, Travis Wingfield, when he was working for Locked On Dolphins, wasn't even working for the Miami Dolphins at the time, just that podcast Locked On. He had a thread in 2019 basically saying, why even have Greer around because of Flores' say in personnel decisions. And he also said, he asked the question, will Greer even be back in 2020? Because I don't see what the point of having him on this team is. Like, that was in 2019 by a guy that's now employed by them and can't say that. Now, he can't say that as an employee of the team. But back then, when Travis could say whatever he wanted, and when Locked On was the #1 Dolphins podcast, he could say that kind of stuff. So even back then in 2019, it was known by people outside of the Dolphins how big of a personnel say Brian Flores got. So that's who has to pay the piper is Flores and Greer. And I truly think, if you guys haven't seen it yet, that video of Raekwon Davis walking back in the tunnel, like I said, right now we have the second worst offense in the NFL, but even worse, we got the third worst defense in the NFL, and that's supposed to be his specialty. That's a problem. That is a legit issue. And if you have not seen the video of Raekwon Davis yet, and you don't know what I'm talking about, here you go. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, here you go. This is Raekwon Davis after the loss, guys. Stop, man. Stop, man. I feel you, Raekwon. So you got Raekwon walking out, hurling a special word. He ain't happy. So, yeah, that's not great. You got defensive players walking out, swearing their face off. So, I don't know. My thing is with like I told y'all, if you would have went to a year ago, I told you I was the most invested in a coach that I ever have been with Flores and since Shula. And then, as I started talking to people and getting in the know and finding out things that go behind the scenes, yeah, it's kind of changed my perspective on him. He's not what they were selling us. You know what I mean? So, we'll see. I think I'll tell you this much. If we lose to the Jaguars, Flores might not even make it back on the flight to Miami. That's what's crazy. If we lose this game to the Jaguars, if I'm Stephen Ross, I tell Flores, go fly home with Delta and coach. I don't know. You ain't coming back on this. And I tell Greer the same thing. The only people I'd be letting on the plane are the players. So I still think we're going to beat the Jags. So I'm not too worried. I've been consistent with that. Guys, smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Let's get to 6,000. If you'd like to donate, paypal.me/Phinside. You can also become a Patreon, patreon.com/Phinside. You can also become a member of the channel. You can go hit the join button. Both the Patreon link and the channel member link are in the description below. If you're a Patreon, you will get mod status. If you have become a Patreon lately and you have not been modded, please message me and let me know. If you are a member, you get custom emojis in the chat. You get a badge by your name. Both are going to get access to film studies early. And my first film study coming is about to be Jalen Phillips. Patchvibes.com, use code Phinside, save 20% off your order. Backroomcollection.net, use code Reason, save 10% off your order. Go check them out. They got some real crazy stuff going on with authentic signed visors and helmets and canvases with players. Go check them out. And then thrivefantasy.com, use code Phinside to have every dollar up to your first 100 deposit matched. The number one site in fantasy prop betting, thrivefantasy.com, use code Phinside. All right. Who would be the interim head coach in that case? That's the problem. I said earlier, go look at what Flores has surrounded himself with. What up, highly bred? If you go look at what Flores has surrounded himself with, Flores, Highly, you're a Patreon now, aren't you? But anyways, if you go look at what Flores has surrounded himself with, he's surrounded himself with a bunch of guys that aren't threatening to or challenging to his position. There is no one right now in that room that will challenge him. Not a single person. Not but one. So he's actually played the game, not let the game play him. And I think Flo, if they're going to make the move, you make the move after the season. You let him ride the season out, then you fire him, because I don't think there's anyone there right now that you can replace him with on this team. I wrenched you, highly bred. There's no one right now you can replace him with on the staff. He's surrounded himself with a bunch of young, inexperienced, incapable minds. Philip Leduc, $5. We are better off than the Raiders right now. Gruden out as head coach. I like Flores. Hope he survives the upcoming house cleaning. If you clean house, you got to clean him, bro. You can't have anything remaining over. You can't, especially when we now know that he has a ton of say in personnel decisions. You in terms of free agency and drafting. Nah, man. If Greer goes, he's got to go too. And if Flores is a dead duck, he's a dead man walking if you clean house in the front office anyways, because the new GM's going to want his own guy. That's the problem you're going to run into. Yeah, Logan Lemuel Jean-Pierre might be the head coach. There's, you can't, especially if he starts to lose a locker room, which there are rumbling. Because if you remember, guys, when I talked about the whole X thing, right? Because, I was on top of the X stuff. The Patreon's all on top of it. I was breaking X stuff before it happened, man. I had his injury coming out before his injury was announced. And if you go back to that, one of the things I told my Patreons, and I don't know if I told this publicly, but I'll tell it right now, might as well, to add more context. So the veterans on the team, it's kind of funny because it's a reflection of the coaching staff a little bit too, like in terms of how Flores treats his coaches. But from what I understand, Flores just treats the younger rookie guys better because they're impressionable. They need to make it to their second contract. you need to do what the coach tells you to do, right? So they're impressionable. They listen, easy to coach because they're rookies. What I've heard is he is harder to get along with if you are on your second contract and beyond, and you understand the business aspect of the game. That's why Xavier Howard was going so hard on those podcasts and everything, was because he understands the business side of this stuff. He's seen the business side play out. So I heard it was a big thing that they gave X money because it would have won grace with the older guys in the room. Because a lot of them weren't expecting him to get paid. So, if that's a general feeling amongst the veterans, then that's never good. It's just like, look at what Omar Kelly reported about McKinney. They didn't cut McKinney because of talent. Omar Kelly on Big O said that there's something more to this story, but he can't talk about it right now. So, and the crazy thing about X getting paid is they had no intention of paying X. It wasn't until they saw what Noah was offering at camp, then they panicked. Because here's the thing. People want to know why we pass up on Najee or a running back at 36 or 18. It was because Phillips and Holland were drafted to help with the transition and the replacement of Xavier Howard. At the time of the draft, they were expecting Noah Benogany to take the second-year leap and be the starter. Holland, as a safety, would make up some of the ball production they lose with X, and Phillips would generate the pass rush, so Noah Benogany would not have to hold his coverage as long as X used to have to. So those draft picks were done with the thought process of Phillips, Holland, and Noah Benogany as a package will make X replaceable. They'll be the replacements for X. And they didn't know how to look at how they were using Jalen Phillips throughout the offseason in the first 2 games of the season, dropping him back into coverage against like slot receivers, like just not even using him. Now they're actually using him properly. And I thought, I would come out and say during the offseason, man, I hope they don't use him like this in the regular season, but maybe it's the offseason. So they think they can just throw the responsibilities on his plate and see what he has, and then go back to just rushing the passer. And when it didn't start off like that in the season, I was like, okay, this is not good. And what the scary thing about that was Flores is supposed to be the defensive genius. Why are you allowing that to happen? You know what I mean? So, there's just little things like that like make you raise your eyes. Tyler Ryan, I don't get how you scout 2 Bama players such as Tua and Raekwon Davis, and then if you're going to draft a corner, why not Trevon Diggs? Because Trevon Diggs, Trevon Diggs, and you're right, Revo, Flo pulling the music stunts is on stills, and then on X with wait till I get my money right, like, is ridiculous. I have the Tua background, Dylan. I just wanted to switch it up. I've had this Marino one forever. I wanted to use it. Back to Trevon Diggs. The reason why I think they didn't draft Trevon Diggs is because his last year film was not very good. Like, if you watched I was really low on him coming out because of his last year. Now, if you watched him before, he was not the same guy you had seen. The guy you're seeing right now was not on tape the last year at Bama. He was getting torched at last year at Bama. Now, his tape the years before that was better. So I don't know. Again, hey, why did we choose the bigger question? Why did we choose Noah before Antoine Winfield when Antoine Winfield Sr. is one of Brian Flores' favorite players? You know what I mean? Got to ask the questions. Why didn't look at? You want to know a frustrating thing? I go back to it earlier. How I said we need to go to more of a progression-based offense to get away from the RPO stuff because we didn't have the offensive line And they did the last 2 games, and our offensive lines look better. But what's the one glaring thing that stood out? The one glaring thing that stood out is this team clearly, if they're going to go to that offense, they need a 3-down pass blocking running back. And they do not have that. That is why they got away from Gaskin. That is why Malcolm Brown's increase was carrying. And I mean, another thing, Flores is a defensive genius. Why is Charles Harris popping off in Detroit right now? Well, with Dan Campbell, a former Dolphins coach, while Flores shipped him out of town. And Charles Harris was a pre-Flores draft. If you actually look at Greer's 2 drafts before Flores, when he started taking the reins over the draft, total different draft style than what we've been drafting under Flores. So, Tyler, you draft Breece Hall. I'll draft Breece Hall or Isaiah Spiller, man. But the guy I want in that first round is I want Tyler Linderbaum. If you could come out with Evan Neal and Tyler Linderbaum, that would be the best first round or 2 rounds in the history of this regime or the Dolphins in the past couple of years. That'd be ridiculous. So, it's got, you gotta sit back and you gotta look at the spectrum, everything. You can't point to the quarterback position or just the offensive line. You gotta start, why are these things happening? Why are players looking like they're regressing? Andrew Van Ginkel, I questioned, and you remember, it's true, I questioned if he'd be able to hold on to this responsibility and he'd be able to deal with all this stuff on his plate. He looks like he can't handle it right now. Again, 2nd year in a row, they try to give Jerome Baker all of these extra responsibilities, put more on his plate. And what happened? Again, just like last year, he's showing you he can't handle it. And you just gave him all this money. You just paid him instead of taking care of Emmanuel Ogbah. And your best 3 defensive players right now are Javon Holland, Emmanuel Ogbah, and Jalen Phillips. And the one veteran out of those guys who I could have told you would be a top 3 player for you on defense right now, you didn't take care of, but you took care of Jerome Baker, who I continue to tell y'all top 30 at best linebacker. All right. Florida born. Would I take Neal or Thibodeau? Either or, baby. Thibodeau with Phillips on the other side is disgusting. Evan Neal coming in. He can play right tackle. Let's go. He actually has legitimate snaps at right tackle with Bama. Let's go. I will take. Now, he's been kicked to left tackle this year since Leatherwood left, but before that, he was the right tackle. Evan Neal. If I had a top 5 pick, Evan Neal would be the guy. And then I would do whatever I can to move back up into the first and get Tyler Linderbaum. And then I would sign Terron Armstead. And my offensive line heading into next season would be Terron Armstead. Have Hunt and Jackson battle out a left guard. And Dieter. Linderbaum at center. Robert Hunt at right guard. And Evan Neal at right tackle. Boom. And I would do whatever I would do whatever it takes to add those 3 players to this offensive line. And yeah, and I would add a running back. This team needs a running back. Big time. And if you guys want a sleeper running back that I like, Max Borghi out of Washington State. Guy reminds me of like Christian McCaffrey light. So, no, I wouldn't have Eichenberg at left tackle. I would have Terron Armstead at left tackle. Oh, sorry, hold on. I got one better for you. I would kick Evan Neal to left tackle. And I would sign Orlando Pace. and I would give him left tackle money to play right tackle because he looks better at right tackle than he does at left tackle. But I would wash my hands. I would try to wash my hands of the mistakes they've made. I think I don't know how high Eichenberg's ceiling is, like I said. So, all right. Enough of the rant. I would try to trade up and throw everything at getting Evan Neal. If you can't get Evan Neal, you make sure you draft Tyler Linderbaum with your San Francisco's pick if you're staying pat. Sign Orlando Brown as the right tackle. If you don't get Evan Neal, then just shift Eichenberg to left tackle. Have Jackson, Hunt, have Jackson, Kinley, and Dieter battle it out at left guard. Linderbaum goes to center. Hunt at right guard. Orlando Brown at right tackle. Because Orlando Brown looks better at right tackle than he does at left tackle with the Chiefs. So, all right, let's get into this. Let's get into the snap counts for yesterday. Let's start off there. All right. Let's start off with the offensive snap counts for the Miami Dolphins. So, obviously, Austin Jackson, all the linemen, 100%, as well as the quarterback. But some interesting things here when you look at these snap counts. Preston Williams only had 6% less snap count than Jalen Waddle. So they're telling you right there that Waddle and Williams are viewed as their 1-2 punch right now at receiver. Gaskin, his workload increased in terms of snap counts. The problem was he was, a lot of that came in the passing game as he had 10 receptions. And so, yes, he's getting more close towards a wide running back one workload right now, but a lot of that came in the passing game. And then, the good thing about Brissett here too, I thought Brissett had a really good game yesterday. And he had that injury, but he managed not to miss one snap. So shout out to Jacoby for fighting through that. But, you look at this right now and I mean, look at the heavy tight end usage, right? I mean, Smythe Shaheen, had far more than Hollins, Wilson, and Isaiah Ford in terms of that whoever that wide receiver 3 you want to list as. But if you go by this snap count chart, they were using Mac Hollins as a wide receiver 3 yesterday. But they were going really heavy tight end sets, obviously, right? And they're putting out Gesicki wide a lot. So Gesicki's technically against their wide receiver 3 if you want to go that route. Now, when we go to the defensive side of the football and the snap counts for the defense this weekend, Christian Wilkins was out there an absolute ton. Just an absolute ton. You go look at, obviously, Jerome Baker. He was down on his. Usually he's been playing 100% of the snaps lately, and they only listed him at. He only played about 89% of the snaps. Holland played 97. I mean, you look at Holland, and you look at Brandon Jones. Those are, Brandon Jones is 74%. Holland at 97% of the snaps. Those are a ton of snaps, and Holland has clearly locked in as that free safety 1 right now. And Rowe, his snaps, look at his, Brandon Jones was playing more. He played 74% of the snaps. Rowe played 30. McCourty, his snaps are way down too, as he only played 36% of the snaps. And Phillips, because of how he's been playing lately, look at his snap count increase. Remember back just a couple weeks ago, it was in the low 20s. Now it's all the way up to 77%. So obviously the coaching staff trusting and liking what they're seeing from him. And then Raekwon Davis eased gently back into the lineup as he saw 53% of the snaps for the defense. So easing him in, you'll probably see a heavier workload this week for Raekwon Davis, and that'll probably drop some of the counts on guys like Butler and such. So, real interesting how Phillips is going up, but also how Holland and Jones, who a lot of us consider the future of that secondary, you look at the snap count here, it tells you that they're the future of the secondary, with Rowan McCourty being phased out a little bit when you look at the snap count. All right, let's keep it rolling. Let's get into the PFF grades. We got a bunch of stuff to go into here. So, here are the PFF grades from week 5. Offensively, Liam Eichenberg was your number 1 graded offensive player at 76.1. They give him a 91 in run blocking and a 64.4 in pass blocking. He only had 7 run blocking sets, though. You look at how many times he ran the football. That's disgusting. Jacoby Brissett was your 2nd highest. Preston was your 3rd highest, then followed by Adam Shaheen and Myles Gaskin, and then Salvin Ahmed remained in the 70s. Then we dipped down into the 60s with Jesse Davis. When you look at the bottom, Albert Wilson was your lowest graded at 52.1. Jalen Waddle, 53.7. That drop that led to the interception did not help him. And then in terms of big chunk snap counts, because Isaiah Ford and Christian, So Durham Smythe, he was, when you go back to large snap counts on the offense, barely over 60, same with Gesicki. So offensively, look at Jackson not being the worst graded offensive lineman. Good for him. All right, so we go into the blocking grades here. We go by pass blockers. First of all, pressures allowed. The team allowed 13 pressures, which was tied for their lowest of the season. They allowed 13 against the Raiders as well. Was it the Raiders? Yeah, it was the Raiders, right? Was it the Raiders? It was the Raiders or the Colts? I believe it was the Raiders. It was the Raiders or the Colts, and the other one they allowed 18. So it's been slowly going down. Austin Jackson only allowed 4 pressures. Again, led the team. Liam Eichenberg allowed 3. Manst allowed his first sack and hurry of the season. So his first 2 pressures. Robert Hunt allowed 2. Jesse Davis allowed 1. Basically 12 of the 13 pressures. And all 3 sacks came courtesy allowed by the offensive line. Way down and much better than they were against the Bills, where they allowed over 34 pressures that game. So we're getting there. Now, when you look at the defensive grades for the Miami Dolphins against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they are as follows. Christian Wilkins was your number 1 rated defensive player, with Duke Riley, who only had 8 snaps, and Brennan Scarlett, who had 10 right behind him. You go to the bottom here, Eric Rowe and Xavier Howard had tough days. You saw it on the broadcast. You don't need PFF to tell you. They did not give Raekwon Davis, Landon Roberts, Andy Van Ginkel, Jabal Sheard, Byron Jones, Jerome Baker or Jalen Phillips, very favorable grades. Even Nick Needham at 50.8 and all those guys in the 50, not very favorable. You want to be in the 60s or higher, but there wasn't really much to write home about. If you look about the pressures that they created, they had 10 total pressures, 2 from Iguavin, and Baker, and then Seiler, and 2 from Butler, and then Seiler, Phillips, Wilkins, and Van Ginkel all had 1. So you guys all saw it. We don't need the PFF to tell us. They were, they weren't generating pressure at a really rate. And Emmanuel Ogbah, the reason why he had none was because he was doubled for most of the game. In terms of run stops, our leading run stoppers were Van Ginkel, Robert, Seiler, Phillips, Baker, and then Wilkins only had 1, as did Raekwon Davis, Jones, and Coleman. So if we were to, just a quick update for everyone, if we are to go to offensive linemen, and we are to go to pressures allowed, currently Austin Jackson is still number 1 in the league with 24 allowed. So not that great. Now, if we are to go to run stops amongst defensive interior linemen, Christian Wilkins is now 2 behind Javon Hargrave and Sebastian Joseph Day from the Rams. So he's gone from 2nd to 3rd in terms of run stops. And Seiler has fallen down here a little bit, but he's still top 10 as well. All right. Now, if we go into the coverage grades, this is where it gets real ugly, and you might want to look away. Byron Jones. I mean, he was targeted 9 times. He allowed 7 receptions for 102 yards, 16 yards after the catch, 5 first downs, and 1 touchdown. Xavier Howard got absolutely eaten up about Antonio Brown. And I mentioned Antonio Brown because I thought we'd have Needham on him in our keys to victory, and he gave us the work over here. But there's a lot of great play calling to get him in open space. But anyways, he had 4 receptions on 5 targets against Xavier Howard for 88 yards. 61 of those 81s came after the catch. 4 first downs, 2 touchdowns. In total, Howard was targeted 9 times, allowed 6 receptions for 123 yards, 20.5 per reception, 68 yards after the catch. The longest he allowed was 62 yards, 6 first downs, and 3 touchdowns when targeted. So when your top 2 guys are allowing 4 touchdowns and 11 first downs, it's never a good recipe. Nick Needham allowed all 5 targets Godwin got against him to be caught for 53 yards and 3 first downs. He was targeted 7 times, allowed 7 receptions for 68 yards and 4 first downs. Jerome Baker allowed 5 receptions on 5 targets for 49 yards. 37 of those 49 were after the catch, and he allowed 4 first downs and 1 touchdown to Giovanni Bernard. Landon Roberts, 3 receptions on 4 targets, 38 yards. 25 yards of those were after the catch. He allowed 2 first downs. Jason McCourty was only targeted twice. Both were caught for 33 yards, and he allowed 2 first downs. Van Ginkel allowed a 9-yard reception against Tyler Johnson. Brandon Jones only allowed a 7-yard reception against Antonio Brown, but it was for a first down. Justin Coleman against Tyler Johnson allowed a reception for 14 yards and a first, obviously. Rowe allowed O.J. Howard his only catch of the game for a first down. Javon Holland shut down Chris Godwin when he was targeted. So the thing here is, I want to preface this again. From what I understand, Xavier Howard is banged up right now. And then it was also reported today Byron Jones is banged up. So your top 2 guys are banged up, and they sure played like it. It wasn't the most inspired defensive performance you've ever seen. And it wasn't really a lot of inspired football, to be honest with you. And Yeah, it's rough to look at that and try to find any type of positive, because that's just bad news. I mean, when you allow, yesterday they doubled our amount of first downs. The Bucs had 33, the Dolphins had 17. 26 of those 33 first downs were passing first downs. Right? The Bucs were 8 for 11 on third down. The Dolphins went from the best third down team last year to one of the worst this year. They ran 20 more plays than the Dolphins. They held the ball for 37 minutes and 7 seconds compared to the Dolphins for 22:53, which is almost exactly similar to last week with the Colts. It's just, I mean, I don't know what to really say anymore. You allow 558 total yards and you only gain 300. Plus, you turn the ball over twice, while the Bucs don't turn it over once. What are you expecting? Like, what are you expecting to happen with that? We rushed the ball 9 times for 39 yards. This was a team, the Buccaneers, that were averaging, I think, 28th best in the NFL in rush yards per game. They're averaging 72, 75 yards a game. They ran for 121 on 25 attempts. And for a defensive mind coach, Mr. Flores, why have you not got the run defense correct? Because it's killing us. The fact that you can't see that is scary right now. All right. Let's get into the passing charts for yesterday's game. Starting with Tom Brady. Tom Brady was 30 of 41 for 411 yards and 5 touchdowns. You guys have been watching me do these passing charts for weeks now. Look at the shots he's taken beyond 10 yards. $16 of his 41 attempts came beyond 10 yards. 2 of those 5 touchdowns came beyond 10 yards. 7 of his 30 completions, 8 came beyond 10 yards. Now, when we go look at Jacoby Brissett's passing chart, like, you look at Tom, it's just all over the field. He was threatening wherever he went. This was Jacoby's. Jacoby only threw the ball 8 times beyond the line of scrimmage. Went 4 for 8 beyond the 10. He only threw it 8 times beyond the 10-yard line and only completed 4 of those. Again, a lot of this stuff is coming inside the 10-yard line and from 5 up to beyond the line of scrimmage. And I know when I look at the all-22 tomorrow, I'm going to see a bunch of chances they missed. And I actually agree with Martina. When you're getting crushed every week, who cares? And no, we did not get a turnover, guys. Dolphins had 2 turnovers. The Bucs had 0. We had a fumble and an interception. They had 0. So, yes, the turnover streak is over. And then when we sit and we look back, shout out to Indianapolis right now, absolutely giving it to Baltimore. When we sit and we look back at this disaster of a game, here are some next-gen stats. The longest completed air distance for Jacoby Brissett was 36.3 yards. It was 45.2 for Tom Brady. The fastest ball carrier for the Dolphins was Preston Williams at 19.19 miles per hour. Antonio Brown clocked at a top speed of 20.95. Fastest sack was Jalen Phillips in 3.7 seconds. Shaquille Barrett in 3.2 seconds for the Bucks. When you look at what side of the field they were throwing to here, it really puts it in perspective how everything came in front of the 10-yard line for us. And look at the chances Tom Brady was taking beyond 10 yards for them. Really puts it in perspective. I mean, look at 14 of his 39 attempts came inside the 10-yard line to the right side of the field. Look at how Tom spreads it. Crazy. In terms of rushing, I mean, was there really anything good here? That's where Gaskin's attempts and yards to the, mainly came between the center to the left tackle. Ahmed, barely any carries. Preston Williams had the one carry. When you look at how they attacked with Fournette, mixed it up. Mixed it all up, all over. Even with Ronald Jones, they mixed it up. So, Giovanni, they loved running to that right side with him. So, and then receiving-wise, you look at the separation being created. Jalen Waddle averaged 2.73 yards. Gesicki 3.03. Shaheen 2.36. Smythe 4.18. Over there on their side, Antonio Brown 3.12. Evans 3.51. Godwin 3.77. Tyler Johnson 3.7. Howard 2.6. And then the pass rush, again, Jalen Phillips leading the way in the average separation from the quarterback for the Dolphins. But you look at Shaquille Barrett, more than half a yard. Well, just actually about half a yard less than Phillips. Crazy. So, man, what can you say? The Dolphins got beaten every facet of the game yesterday. Gonna have to learn to deal with it. It is what it is, the life of a Dolphin fan. What's crazy, too, is I was warning everyone before the season started how rare it is that we have a coach where we actually, our record grows every year for 3 years. You know what I mean? You got to go back to, I believe, Dave Wanstead before you find a coach that grew on his record win-wise every year. I'm dropping the link for you guys if y'all want to come up here too. So you actually got to go back quite a ways to find a coach that was stacking up wins year after year. And hey, at this point, I don't even know what to say. It is what it is. Don't let it be what it ain't. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I do not think Brian Flores sees year 5 of his guaranteed contract. Martin, what's good, bro?
Was that a reason?
How you feeling, bro?
I'm actually feeling good, bro. To be honest, 1-4 is not pretty, but I'm just saying, man, I still got hope, man. I still got a good amount of hope because, all of what we're seeing is so correctable, and it's only a matter of will like how we keep saying, will Brian Flores just tuck that ego and say, I was wrong and let me do it this way, moving forward. Because again, once we get back to, I think people can say what they want about, well, if Tua was in, we'll still be blah blah blah. Trust me when I say, man, Tua clearly can do certain things that other quarterbacks can't. As far as how he passes the football, where he goes with the football, how he takes care of the football, um, capitalizing on certain opportunities. I don't know, man. I got that feeling that the season's going to turn around in a major way, and that's just obviously people are going to say, well, that's just me being a homer, but
yeah, because we're but we're also hitting the easy stretch of the schedule, right?
And we have to realize that too. We're about to get in a real favorable stretch of matchups. So let's just go ahead and coach it up to where we should win all of those games, and then when we get to those crucial games like New Orleans or whoever, we'll be ready to meet that prime time type of matchup, because the Ravens tonight don't look that good, to be honest.
Yeah,
they're struggling.
Rhino, welcome back. Welcome home, bro.
Hey, gentlemen.
Rhino Sid, what's up, man?
I'm with Martin. It's not because I have faith in Flores. I don't have faith in the coaching staff, but this is what he does. He starts off crappy, plays better for the rest of the season. Everyone thinks he's a genius, and the next year rolls around and we get screwed again. It's gonna be rinse and repeat with this guy. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And does Ross have the balls to see it? I don't know. I have no clue.
I think he does. Ross is clearly he's business savvy. Clearly he's business savvy. But when it comes to football, I think he's been around football enough to understand. Let's just
You know what he's probably thinking? I got rid of Tannenbaum a year too early because if I kept him, I'd have Herbert right now.
Man.
Oh Lord.
What's going on, Florida born?
Man, I'm glad. I thought I was going to be the only optimist because I look at the AFC. Look at Kansas City Chiefs have one more win than us. The AFC has fell off, and we got like you said, Reason. We got the easy schedule coming up. I'm with Rhino. I'm with everybody else, and it kind of pissed me off this morning when I hear everybody giving Flores, we got to give him time. But the same people that want to crucify a rookie quarterback are over here saying, we got to hold our coach and our front office accountable. Now you don't have TUA'S the scapegoat.
Right. Exactly.
The only saving grace I will say is we played some really, really explosive offenses in Vegas, the Bills, and Tampa.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to keep adding guys here because we got a full backstage. One by one, Pyro, why don't you let Rhino know how pessimistic you are, bro? He's been away for a while.
I need to squash this whole positivity shit. Both of you guys are talking about, oh man, I got hope. When Martin said that, I said, let me hop on real quick.
Let me cancel this real quick.
I cancel like John Gruden. But anyway,
I know, right?
Cancel that right now because I don't want to hear this positivity bullshit. I already told y'all we gotta lose until they clean house with Flores. I'm done, man. I'm so done with this team.
Well,
coaching staff, everything, man.
Ray of Sunshines, they shine side by side. So here's another one. Dylan, what's up, dude?
The two pessimists of the Dolphin community.
Now, hold up.
I mean,
I wasn't down this dark
Dylan's a realist. Dylan's a realist.
No, I'm just giving it.
He's the architect.
You just jumped on his train, on the train with him.
Nah, man, I jumped down the hole. Not no train. It's a hole right now, man.
Yeah. I don't know, bro. Look, I'm not as optimistic as the first three gentlemen that came up here.
I'm not optimistic.
Okay.
Rhino.
Okay, so Rhino's not optimistic. Got it, for the record. But so honestly, though,
yes.
I mean, I just gotta see it, bro. Like it's my team. Just like it's y'all's team, I'm always going to root for him and all that good stuff. And I'm always going to have some little, glimmer of hope deep down. But it's small, and it's deep as shit. So you know they gotta prove it to me, and they gotta grow that, right? Like they gotta grow the hope inside of me, and you know it'll start on Sunday with the Jags.
There's no hope to
But
begin with.
I
see,
tell
bro.
Guys,
you what
I just want to say to people saying Gruden got canceled. Okay, like guys, he was calling like Roger Goodell like a pussy, and then and then FAGGOT.
Yeah.
He was calling him an FAGGOT.
The F word.
And he was talking about like was it Maurice Smith's lips and stuff like that?
DeMaurice Smith.
Yeah.
Like the
NFLPA
Michelin man.
director or
Yeah,
whatever,
like-
That
Like
shit was never acceptable. Sorry.
yeah. I don't know about
he was
canceled.
tripping. He was
I
tripping,
think he
bro.
didn't know how to use email, and he's a dumbass.
That was like Hillary Clinton level.
He forwarded it to the wrong
level of-
person.
Yeah. Todd, what's going on?
Hey, Todd.
Man, I am.
Man, all the OGs
So, you
on
know-
tonight.
We gotta
You
go
know,
home.
it would be so Dolphins for Flores to be able to keep his job because Tua comes out and performs well and saves it.
You know what would be so Dolphins? You know what would
It's
be
gonna
so Dolphins? They fire Greer and they give full power.
Oh, no,
And next year
don't
we
say
start
that.
off
Full
1-5.
custody.
I don't trust either one of them because you know what? You know what? What's his name balling out? I forget his name. The guy we got from Missouri, the defensive lineman,
Charles Harris.
shows that we don't have the coaching staff to develop.
Hey,
We
and
don't
what was
have
that?
a development team.
That was a Greer pick before
Yep.
Flores.
Wouldn't
Yes.
that be an indictment on Flo though?
That
If
was-
Tua comes out and balls out, Ross be like, "Look,
Shouldn't it be an
the
indictment
guy
that he's
you
a
didn't
defensive
want?"
genius? Shouldn't it be an indictment that he's a defensive genius and he couldn't get anything out of Charles Harris?
Hey,
And this guy's out here
listen.
under Dan Campbell blowing the world up right now?
Mm,
Hey,
That's what I said.
reason.
Although
Yeah.
to be fair,
I'm a Dolphins
It's all
fan. I
cold,
want
I
us to
told
win.
y'all.
Yeah.
I'm a Dolphins fan. I want us to win every week. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't mind seeing us win with blowouts and the defense play like crap and us blowing them out just so Flores does lose his job.
Daryl, I want to hear what's on your mind because you usually have riveting takes. So
Yes,
Exactly.
where are you at? Where are you at, Daryl? What's your soliloquy for today?
I think he
Come on,
jumped out
Garrett.
the window too.
Man, what was that saying he used?
Daryl is much more diplomatic. Go ahead, Daryl.
Nah, he in his hole.
I don't know.
Reason.
Yep, he's in the hole.
I told you because his comments. I read some of his
Y-
comments.
y'all hear that echo? That's that
Oh,
Oh
hole.
my
man.
God! Did you just see that play?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
But I
against
want
the
to hear
Ravens.
this. So go ahead, bro.
Yeah. What's up, Daryl?
Well, first things first, it's a pleasure to be up here with all you guys. But as far as what my thoughts are, I don't really have too many thoughts because all throughout the day when I was at work, I was paying attention to some of the comments that I saw on Twitter in terms of the things that Flo said, the trainers of Tua Tagovailoa, what they had to say all throughout the week. And honestly, I just think that everybody's just trying their best to tread lightly. I mean, it's good to know that Tua Tagovailoa is going to be making his return on Sunday because it feels like it's been longer than a few games since we've been able to see him play. And I'm to the point now when it comes to Brian Flores, I mean, you're either gonna, take the blinders down and see the situation for what it is, or you're just gonna continue to live in La La Land. So hopefully, the people within the Dolphins organization have, enough people that are well aware of the problems at hand and they fix it. There were some positives that came from that ass whooping from Tampa Bay. Austin Jackson did seem to play better at left guard, and
he did.
he might have something with Eichenberg there. And the most important thing that I can leave you all with is no more Jacoby Brissett. Not Brissett, Brissett at quarterback.
Yes,
And that's after he had his best performance.
I was so hoping.
You know what? I still got to tip my hat off. I got to tip my hat off to Jacoby because
definitely.
It was the Tampa trample, bro.
You see this profile pic I'm rocking, man?
Game.
What's going on in your profile pic, Pyro?
So this is after
When Jesse almost got our second quarterback killed.
Yeah, bro. He was just lying there. I was like, oh shit, is he dead?
No, he's contemplating a life. That's how his life
lifeless.
movie starts. Hi, my name's Jacoby. This is why I'm here. You might be wondering why I'm here.
Hey, reason. I so wanted Sinnett to find his way into the game when Jacoby was limping.
Yeah. I wanted to see if he can pull it off.
That
Jacoby
was
was playing
fucking
good
tease.
though. Jacoby
Yeah, he
was
was.
He was playing good,
Mm-hmm.
but if we weren't going to win the game, let's see what we have with the young kid.
I agree.
And what pisses me off, how in the hell do you leave a 4-3 man on the practice squad and bring up Ford?
Yeah.
I know.
Bro, Isaiah Ford is like, what is he like? Is it like you cut the tumor and he spreads through the body? Like, what's going on?
We already know what we got with Ford.
Never go away.
You had a
We
Mustang.
already know what
instead
we
you brought
got
the
with
Ford
Ford,
Pinto.
and that ain't much.
Oh man.
And
I will kind of say there's gonna have to be a point where the offense is gonna have to start carrying the team, just like how the defense did from last year. There was a point where
Dude, I was told last night X is banged up, and then Omar Kelly came out saying said X and Byron Jones are banged up.
Yeah,
I didn't know anything about Byron.
They were on the injury report. I mean,
his Achilles.
We got to really consider that offensively you have to step up in order for this team to actually get propelled to these win columns, because defensively we can't just rely on them to save us all the time. Offensively, you have to take that next step.
I mean,
Byron was on the injury report.
Time for your second chance.
But here's the thing, guys. This is the third week in a row the defense has been on the field for over 37 minutes.
Hey, Reason.
Like, am I the only one who sees a problem with this? Like,
absolutely.
This is not good.
And that's why they're starting to crumble even more. That's why these guys are getting banged up so
Buddy,
much.
they feel like they're probably in like week 12 right now, and we're in week 5.
Yeah.
When
they already played a whole
when Daryl said
they had
that
72 offensive snaps. The Bucs did. We had 51 or 52. Like, what is? It's just.
I'm pretty sure
ridiculous.
It was the worst day too for our third down defense.
Can I say something real quick about
and the show? I want to see Jackson at guard against a less formidable front seven, because as good as he might have played yesterday compared to what he was at left tackle, he still had more than a couple whiffs.
Yeah,
true. But he played a hell of a lot better.
But that was a hell of a front seven,
bro. He played a hell of a lot better. I agree, but you could have put a pylon at left tackle and said he played a hell of a lot better than what Jackson did at left tackle. So it wasn't really the expectations weren't very high.
I know.
Showing up to the stadium is 3/4 of the battle of playing better than what he plays every week.
Still alive.
Hey, Reason with Byron and
tying
XP
your shoes is another 10%. All you got to do is get off walking on the field's another 10%. So now I only need you to put 5% in, and you're better as a player. I mean, the expectations aren't very high for that guy to be better than how he has been. What were you going to say, Todd?
Crazy.
If with X and Byron being banged up, they would be getting treatment. Shouldn't they be on the injury report? Because Byron was last week.
They are. Yeah, but they weren't making a big deal out of it. That's what I'm saying. They were not making a big deal of it through the week. Now you saw this weekend, X.
It's a big deal.
X looked like people were trying to say he looked like he quit or but I'm hearing like if he didn't just get paid, he would be sitting out right now.
What is he on the report for?
Shoulder and a groin, I think.
And it's the groin that's bugging him right now.
Yeah, if a groin, you're not keeping up with. You're not keeping up with Brown with the groin.
No, dude.
Yeah, X is a shoulder and a groin.
And I'll say what I said yesterday. Antonio Brown is how this team should be using Jalen Waddle.
Exactly.
Like, literally, blueprint has been showed to you 2 weeks in a row.
Twice.
2 of the last 3 weeks with Ruggs and now Antonio Brown. If you look at Antonio Brown, him and Jalen Waddle are very, very similar.
That's the difference between Bruce Arians and our coach. Arians,
I mean,
he has an ego. He has a huge ego.
Yeah,
but he checked it last year and changed things up to help Brady out.
That's true.
That's
true.
And Byron's got an Achilles injury.
That's what makes good coordinators from good head coaches. Sean today would have seen that he was still the next week.
Byron's has had an Achilles injury since last year.
Yeah, well, he's running on a.
Well, Noah's got to step up.
So.
Oh yeah.
No.
Right back.
I mean, what do we got? I mean, we don't have nobody else.
Can you play corner, Florida Born? Can you
Hey,
play?
need him to be out there.
I'd rather
You
put
can't
Trill
see
Williams
my-
out there and see what I
Exactly.
got.
Yeah.
Just-
I like
for the
Trill.
born. They won't say this publicly, but Noah Benogany was the
They're
worst
admitting
first
he's a
round
bust.
pick of the 2020
Yeah,
NFL
look.
draft.
What's
He
you
was
know
the
what's
worst
funny,
first
bro?
round pick.
I want you to go look at the inactives yesterday. A 30th overall pick and a 3rd round pick in Hunter Long in the last 2 years are inactive. What the fuck is going on right now?
They
When
suck at
your
what they
interior
do.
was such a disaster
They
and you
suck.
still chose the 5th tight end on your roster over a guy like Quinn Miners. What are you doing here right
Look,
now?
and
Now, hey, reason
He
to be
needs to
fair for Hunter
develop.
Long.
He needs to develop.
Big belly.
And to be fair to Hunter Long, he did have that injury, and he's probably not 100%.
So then why isn't he on IR, bro? Why are you
I have no idea. That's on the coach.
You should be bringing up someone else onto the roster that you can have inactive on Sundays.
Oh, I agree.
And Darth Vader asked Parker or Preston, and I
Williams
say
for me.
Preston.
Stop.
Motherfucking neither.
Yeah.
Neither. Is there a Z?
Somebody said it. Thank you.
Is there a third option right now?
Neither of them are.
I'll take the question mark. Is the question mark an option? At least I don't know what I'm getting.
I agree with you. I'm just saying it's not an indictment on Hunter Long. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, I wrote yesterday.
I agree with you.
Preston's coming back, and he could potentially have a break. Oh, yeah, okay.
All right. Preston got hurt, man. But
and he got banged up too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The story of
Preston
his
had a
NFL
serviceable game.
career, bro.
He got banged up too.
Yeah, man. He got hurt.
Bro, I don't know how that guy.
Durable
Bro, I
receivers.
just play press man against him all day because I know I'd put him on the IR with a jam eventually at the line.
I mean, we all saw this coming.
Bro,
sorry, he just looked a step
getting
slow.
off to his route,
surprise.
breaking off in his route, he'll injure himself, man.
But I still like Preston's ability, though,
Christ.
man. His ability
Yeah,
is
but
like
the best ability
He
is
only-
availability.
Bro, he only had that
Martin.
one drive.
I know.
He only
I
had
agree.
that one drive, and that was it.
He's useless if he can't fucking get on the field.
I agree.
Man,
I
it
agree.
Damn,
sucks,
Wentz is
though.
looking good, bro. Wentz is looking good.
I just wanna say,
Yo, if you actually think about it, think about this one for a sec.
Colts having a rebound game.
For
The
real.
3 losses they had
he
were
was
all
in the
against
rebound game.
serious
Yeah, the
playoff
Colts had a
caliber
rebound
teams.
game because of us.
Like
Oh,
their
yeah,
first,
yeah.
We kickstarted it.
no, but no.
Yeah,
what
we
happened
are the
was
fucking launching pad for teams.
what happened was we underestimated the Colts because we didn't take into account who the first 3 losses were against.
We win those
Their
games
first
with
3
Joe.
losses were
did.
against
The Seahawks.
quality teams. Bro.
Seattle,
Yeah.
the Rams.
We win those games with
and
Tua, bro. I'm telling you.
Who else did
Arizona.
they lose?
I think it was Arizona.
Yeah, really.
Arizona,
3
I think.
NFC teams that started.
Yeah.
Arizona's going to be in the Super Bowl. Mark my words.
I might be wrong
I
about it.
don't
I'm
know.
with you on
I
that
don't
one.
know.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray's kind of breaking down. early.
AT Finn's news. Hey, reason, do we have an issue with talent development?
Yes.
Yes.
Next question.
Definitely.
What
That's, one of
talent?
that's on the long list of issues with this.
Yes.
And real
Look,
quick though. So as bad a day as Xavier Howard and Byron Jones did have yesterday, and they did have a pretty bad day, I'd still rather have them out there injured than what some of the guys we got behind them, Noah in particular. So we better hope that they can keep playing, because
I told
I'd
you
take
we'll
a
lose
banged
some
up
games.
Xavier Howard and Jones.
Hey,
even though-
I would
I
honestly
said
sit. I would
fucking
sit
said
one
it.
of them and
Sit
put
one.
Needham out there to give one of them some rest
Yes.
You could,
And-
that's
against
yeah.
Jacksonville.
And let me
Yeah,
say
I
something
agree
real
with
quick. Let me say something real quick
Sid
about
Howard.
player development, right? You guys remember when Aaron Foster came to the team in 2016, right?
And his brother was
Pe-
his
people-
trainer.
Yeah, but Aaron Foster was ridiculously good with the Texans. But when he got to the Dolphins, he was like here, but he wasn't here. And
Yeah,
and
because
he got
he was a
injured.
shell of his injuries, right? Like
Right.
a lot of people,
injuries and
a lot of
and
people
he just
blamed his.
retired. And
Well,
he just
no.
retired because
Well,
of
he's
the
getting
protesting and
injured
stuff.
every year though. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
started pointing the finger at his brother actually for the downfall of his career, because his brother was like in charge of his training regimen, and from what I've heard, it was like totally odd and like not. His training regimen wasn't like as intense as other people and stuff like that.
But you can't deny Aaron Foster's from 2010 to 2014 was like
He was a
arguably
beast.
the best running back
Yeah,
in the
he's a
league.
monster.
But what I'm saying is when he was here, the closest thing that we had to a player development was when Aaron Foster came onto the roster and showed Jay Ajayi, Damian Williams, and Kenyon Drake how to run a football, right? How to use your vision the right way, right? As soon as he retired, Jay Ajayi goes to the Philadelphia Eagles, he gets a
falls
Super Bowl.
apart.
He
didn't help them. He didn't help them to win that shit.
But I'm just saying. I'm just
he
saying
fell apart that year.
He got fucking lucky to get that ring. Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm just saying. Damian Williams as well. He went to the Kansas City Chiefs,
and he was instrumental in that win. He was instrumental,
and he did his part. And now Kenyon
Drake,
for all we know,
got MVP.
Potentially, yes. And all I'm saying is we don't have a player development staff to where every time a player leaves us, they miraculously get better.
Well, we don't even have the same veteran presence to help with that either, right? Because I mentioned Frank Gore, but we had guys like Cameron Wake, we had Danny Amendola in here.
Because Flo don't like vets.
I know.
And look at the blend of veterans on the offensive line. Tunsil was the only rookie.
Yeah,
that's true.
And so a lot of that development, a lot of the development we did see came from those veteran players, Pouncey and other guys like that, right? Because they were proven guys and they were able to help the young players work their way up.
No Finch, man.
But we don't even have that anymore. We don't have any of those guys right now. So
the problem with Reggie McKenzie and Marvin Allen, Finch fan 23, is you're not changing the culture. You're keeping all the same philosophies in the building.
Yeah.
I want Greer gone for a different reason than most. I can't blame Greer for all the draft picks because Flores did have his say. I want Greer because he has no balls to stand up to Flores and say, "No, I'm gonna draft who I want."
He's scared. He's scared.
That's my issue because obviously the pick.
I've talked about this. It's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because if you actually had a brilliant head coach who understood evaluation and prospects and development and made a lot of right decisions in terms of the coaching staff, that would be a blessing in disguise because Greer is basically handing him the keys, right? And saying, whatever you want, I'll go get you at the grocery store. And for a coach that's capable of turning those draft picks or free agent signings into consistent, long-term, productive products on the field for the team on offense and defense, if we had a coach like that, everyone would be praising Chris Greer right now.
Yeah. I mean, look, Omar even said it, and I've said this before too. Omar Kelly just said it the other day that's who Greer is. Whoever's in charge, whoever takes, gives the orders or whatever is who he follows, and that's the vision he, employs. And right now, it's Flores in a lot of ways, right? I mean, Greer does make some of the decisions for sure, but the guy who, he even said it to himself. I often defer to Flores, right? And Flores has said himself, I have a hand in every transaction. So, that's who Greer is. That's who Greer is.
Until Flores wins something, gets us deep into the playoffs or the Super Bowl, he hasn't earned it.
Oh, I agree.
What if Reggie McKenzie?
Go ahead, Ryan.
What if Reggie McKenzie becomes our GM?
I would clear the whole house.
So McKenzie,
because he's going to keep people in the scouting department or in the different departments that he's built relationships in with, and they'll be still around. There'll be Greer guys, just now McKenzie guys that he met through his tenure.
But reason can we agree that most of these drafts that the Dolphins have had, late round draft picks, have been pretty good, like a Gaskin.
There've been a couple.
Go look at the early rounds. Go look at Greer's 2 drafts when he started taking over before Flores showed up.
They're different. Well, that was the Gase years, so that was different. But
but he had more of a say in that. He wasn't giving because Tannenbaum was the top guy, so they were basically trusting his evaluations and his scouting. It wasn't like, okay, coach, tell me da 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 da. It wasn't like that back then. And those were more Greer hands-on picks. And Minka Fitzpatrick was a Greer pick. That was all for Greer. That was one of the notches in his belt, and it's no Tunsil. You know what I mean?
And what I'm trying to highlight is that most of these late round picks are not even Greer picks. These are from the scouting staff.
Yeah,
after round 5.
After round 5, I've been told round 5 is the last 6 and 7 he leaves to the scouting department basically.
Yes,
they've also cut 5 of those guys too already.
Who knows? Maybe the scouting department is not the issue. Flores could be changing what.
Well, you know why I say it's an issue? Because no one's standing up in that scouting department. No one stood up and said, "Yo,
no balls.
Austin Jackson is not the pick. Yo, what are you doing taking Noah Benogany at 30?"
Right.
Like no one stood up and said no. And I need if you're a scouting department, when they have more power, I need multiple of you to have the awareness and the balls to step up. Because if 5 or 6 of you step up, they're gonna listen.
Facts.
Right. That's exactly right.
That's the problem. Like, if I look at how he's hired his coaching staff with a bunch of yes men and no one who can replace him, what do I think they've done in the scouting department right now, bro? I was on the phone with EM yesterday. My word, I'm on the phone with EM yesterday, and we're talking or whatever about the Dolphins and stuff. And I just decided to search the Dolphins coaching staff. And I go to the main page, and I never really looked at it. Like, I know all the names and stuff. But have you seen how young all these guys are?
Yep.
There's one guy who looks like he's over 40.
There's one guy that was brought up from high school straight to our coaching staff.
Right.
Wow.
Like, all these guys, I'm like, second year with the Dolphins. And, like, if they've been with other teams, they'll say this is so-and-so's 13th year in the league. His second with the Dolphins.
We got to get rid of everyone.
Yeah, and it'll say his 13th year in the league, but his second year with the Dolphins, right? Yeah. You know how many guys that clicked on and they're like, this is their second year with the Dolphins, or this is the third year of the Dolphins. No mention of this is their 6th, 7th, 8th year in the NFL. That tells me they've been promoted under Brian Flores from not in the NFL, and their whole tenure's been here with the Dolphins. And I'm looking through all these guys. I'm like, he has no one. I see your game, Brian. If it all falls apart, there's no one to hand the reins over to.
Yeah,
you're gonna get at least like if Ross wants to fire you right now, you got till at least the offseason.
Well,
who's the guy with the beard that's on defense with the ball?
Gerald Alexander, he's the Debo coach. We got him. We got him last year in the offseason. That's why I loved Ashton Davis out of Cal. He was one of my favorites.
Right?
Yep.
He was one of my favorite safeties. He was Ashton Davis's
position coach in college,
and Adam Gase sniped Ashton Davis like 2 or 3 picks before we were about to take Brandon Jones because he knew we were about to take him. Bro, go watch.
Gase knows how to pick, bro.
Go watch. No, he took that to spite us because he knew that's where we were going, bro.
Maybe
that was a spite you pick. Because he didn't even use Ashton Davis last year.
But
the new coaching staff has been using him. But go watch. Yeah, but I'm saying in the rookie year, he did not use Ashton Davis at all.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He drafted him to spite us because he knew that's where he's going. Go look at Herbert's last year in college and go watch the game against Cal. Right. I literally said if Herbert's a top 10 pick, Ashton Davis should be a top 10 pick. Go watch that game.
Hey, Reason. Let me ask you a question. How come every team knows what we're doing? Look at what happened last year.
Because they're predictable.
Right. That's
predictable.
There's an issue there. There's an issue there somewhere.
We're predictable and people talk, bro. It happens with every team, right? Like
it flows. It's Flo's idea. He wants a defensive team. He wants an offense that won't turn it over. That's not high powered. It doesn't put any. That's his MO. That's it.
I mean, but he still hasn't even what made us successful last year on defense. He still hasn't even done it yet. Though.
No, the exotic blitzes and
any of that.
Right.
And I mean,
by the way, Rhino, great to see you again.
Hey, Todd.
For real.
Like, I've been on here.
You've been MIA for a while.
It's not even really his defense. It's Bill Belichick's defense. But it did work, at least. So why haven't you used it yet? Like,
this is the truest shit ever. See, college is about talent. NFL is about coaching.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
I agree.
Absolutely.
And this is why I keep telling all of y'all, doesn't matter what pick you're drafted at, it matters the situation you're drafted into.
Right.
Who picked you?
When you pick.
That's why.
Right. It's who you pick, not when you pick.
NFL easy for you. That's how it is.
None. And that's why I believe Justin Herbert would have probably been struggling here as well because we just
Same with Burrow.
we don't know how to, and Burrow. We just don't know how to develop those guys, bro.
These fans seeing how successful coaching is for a rookie quarterback, and they're like, "Oh, see, we should have got him because look at the arm talent. We knew he had it."
But this is my fault. That is such a narrow-minded.
I know.
Face value, no context, casual take of you think you can just plop a player in a totally different situation and you're gonna get the same results. It's like
Jeff George.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if this is why I say obviously it matters what's around you. If it didn't, we all know how good Deshaun Watson is. He would have won more than 4 games last year when he threw for almost 5,000 yards. Right. Same thing when I go back to Herbert. Name me the Pep Hamilton he would have had last year. Look at the dysfunction. Man. Robbie Brown got his duties taken away in the Arizona game. All right? And let's be honest, the reason why they pushed Tua to start was because they know the merchandise sales would be through the roof, plus they wanted to see what they had. But you look at Herbert, dude, he wouldn't have had as many starts as he had in Los Angeles, so he wouldn't have put up the same numbers just off that alone, let alone in this offense. He wouldn't have won Rookie of the Year because he needed to break those records to beat Justin Jefferson's output. Right? And then this year, look at the offensive line they built over there compared to what we built into year 2 for our quarterback over here. He'd behind a shitty offensive line. And here's the better thing. In the last 2 years, have we had a Keenan Allen? Have we had a Mike Williams? I'll go even further. Have we had an Austin Eckler?
No.
Hell no.
None of that. That's why I hate these
guys.
And the coaching, I try to tell people, some people have said to me, he didn't have Pep Hamilton this year. I said, bro, do you know how invaluable that 1 year under Pep Hamilton when you're going through your transition from college to the NFL matters? This is a guy who groomed Andrew Luck. Okay, this is a guy who, when he came to the Indianapolis Colts to be with Andrew Luck, he turned down a college head coach job to take that job. He turned that offense into a top 5 offense in the NFL. Okay, and then now, guess where he is? Does anyone know where he is right now?
Houston.
No, where is he?
Yes, he's in Houston, Z-Man. And did you see Davis Mills yesterday?
Look like Superman.
And I know y'all remember me talking about Davis Mills in the offseason. Yeah. I had him graded higher than Mac Jones. And did y'all see Davis Mills yesterday, bro?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you something, Reason.
Pep Hamilton's the real
We saw
deal.
him at the Senior Bowl.
Quarterback whisperers. Adam Gase ain't a fucking quarterback whisperer, okay?
He
lived off Peyton Manning thanking him in his little fucking speech when Peyton Manning was already a fully developed quarterback by the time he got to Denver. So miss me with that shit.
Pep
Hamilton has proven on the collegiate level and the NFL level, I can coach offenses and I can develop quarterbacks. That is a rare breed. That is a true quarterback whisperer.
Would you want to give him a chance at a head coaching job?
What? Say again?
Would you want to give him a chance to interview for the head coaching job here?
What the fuck do I got to lose? The fact that we interviewed him for offensive coordinator last year and you promoted Godsey and Stoodsville over Pep Hamilton tells me either 2 things.
It's a million.
1, you're incompetent, or 2, Pep didn't want nothing to do with you, Brian.
I think it's 2.
Take your pick.
Yeah,
because if I'm Pep Hamilton and you offer me the offensive coordinator job to get Tua right and to set the world on fire with Tua, buddy, I would be skyrocketed to any head coaching job I want.
Wow.
Because I would have done Herbert and Tua back to back. You would have been able to say nothing to me, bro.
Honestly, the only reason why we have our OCs, I don't think anybody wanted to come over here under Flores.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Because it took so long to name somebody that we already had in the building as our offensive coordinator.
That's true.
Right.
Nobody wanted to come, bro. And
nobody.
I mean, we talked about it. They've had coaches leave.
Jorge, the offensive line falls on Flores. Flores is the one who hired Lemuel Jean-Pierre, who hasn't done a good job. Flores is the one who's gone through four offensive line coaches, and we're on our 4th and 5th offensive coordinator right now in 3 years. He's got the turnover. That's why these guys are regressing and not developing, because there's no continuity going on right now. Bro, Flores,
they don't know what they're
all
doing.
the way the O-line is shuffled right now and everything going on, that's on his coaching staff. Greer just drafts the guys they want. He's not out there delegating where they play.
Listen, the coaching fraternity is very
Fry,
close.
I think it's going to be one of the. Fry is the only one in house you could fire Studesville and Godsey and promote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's
but you want to know?
And he might be the only one you could make a head coach if you actually think.
Hey, with how close the coaching fraternity is,
as an intern,
we've had two guys come into our organization under Flores. One left sick, and then decided not to come back here and went somewhere else.
Caldwell.
And the other one, Gailey, he could be saying, "Look, Flores did all these changes at quarterback, didn't even call me, blah blah blah." Blasted them to everybody. Who's going to want to coach under him unless you're young?
Yeah, bro. He
Perfect.
created.
You cannot say this because, bro,
they don't know no better.
Austin Jackson would have been his blindside protector. Austin Jackson has been the worst offensive lineman out of the Chargers and the Dolphins in the last 2 years. I talked about it last year, and you saw the numbers come out. Tua was the number 2 quarterback at evading pressure. All last year when I broke down the film, I kept saying, why is no one talking about how many sacks Tua's evaded? And a lot of those came from Jackson. And guess what? Herbert wouldn't have seen most of those.
And by the way, Rashawn Slater looks like a Hall of Famer already as a rookie.
Yeah, he would have got hurt eventually. But yeah, I mean, there have been, Flores and people don't want to see it, haven't wanted to see it, but he has in a lot of ways, and obviously some of the behind the scenes stuff isn't out there right now for the public, but he has created a toxic environment with that ego and all that stuff. And we've talked about on here before, a bunch of other coaches have left for, lateral positions or even demotions in a couple cases because they didn't want to stay here anymore. So yeah,
his first hire as defensive coordinator left to go be it in New York.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, in a lateral movement. He took the defensive coordinator. He didn't take a promotion.
Yeah, there's several of those situations, and those are things like I've been pointing out for a long time, bro. Like that's not the kind of thing you see with an organization and coaching staff that has good cohesion and a good culture and good chemistry. You don't see those kinds of things happening, But people are like, "Oh no, it's okay, bro. He's just gonna hire these guys. They're all gonna leave because they don't want to be here."
Bro.
And then he's just gonna hire the right people.
He's a genius, baby.
Okay, I guess if that's what your interpretation is, well, you're an idiot.
Dude, I think didn't Joe Philbin and Adam Gase had better records over their first 35 games?
And
to be honest, I think if Tua comes back and really
why
starts
does no one want
out,
Jim Harbaugh if he can return to that 49ers form?
I've heard he's
with Colin Kaepernick.
I've heard
they just say he's crazy, bro.
Like he's legitimately.
He did lead him to the Super Bowl.
How's Sarkisian doing in Texas?
Yeah.
Buddy,
pretty
you see
good.
They're pretty good. Got a damn good running back too.
But they blew it. They blew it in against Oklahoma.
I like.
How do you pronounce his first name? Robinson.
Kajan.
Bro, he's
or Bijan. I'm sorry,
Bijan. Yeah, it's Bijan. Bro, he's a beast, bro.
Yeah,
he's eligible next year, right? He's eligible next year.
I told you about him, bro. I thought he was gonna be like.
I just remember you telling me about that Michigan State running back Walker. That's the only one I remember.
I told you about Walker this year, but Bijan was like way earlier.
I don't remember that. Yeah.
He's nice. He's nice.
How about Isaiah Spiller, man? Oh my God.
Yeah,
we got the pick of the litter, but let's see what they do because they always pass on these running backs, bro.
Linderbaum, I don't want to hear nothing else if we're in the 20s, bro. I don't want to hear a peep about anyone else. Linderbaum or nothing.
We got the 49ers
corner.
We got the 49ers pick.
We got the 49ers pick, and the thing is, Trey Lance is hurt now and going to be out for a couple weeks, so Jimmy's coming back in. So you're going to watch; they're going to win.
What? He's coming back? Damn.
Probably start winning a few.
So
it's gonna be that other quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. Just get me Tyler Linderbaum, second best lineman, best interior lineman in this draft. But there's great, Charles Cross, Zion Nelson from the Hurricanes. Some of you might know. Abraham Lucas.
Hey, Zion is overrated.
I'd take him in the
Zion Johnson.
Nelson.
Yeah,
they're gonna take him in the first.
Okay.
I'm a Hurricanes fan.
I would never take him in the first.
I watched what that O-line is let go by, and
No, I would not touch him in the
Zion
first.
is so overrated.
I'd take him in the third or fourth. Charles Cross, I would try and get in the third. Abraham Lucas, I would snatch in the second because everyone knows how much I love that guy.
So if John
Honestly,
Harbaugh gets fired at the end of the season,
I'm not looking forward to the draft unless we get
I
rid
would
of
look at
people.
John Harbaugh from Baltimore. Hell to the motherfucking yes.
Because if it goes bad, like it might, it looks like they're not really as good as everyone thinks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Harbaugh might be
Pyro's going to get his Pyro's going to get his wish as early as next week once we lose to Jacksonville. Flo is out there.
Oh Lord!
Oh my God!
He'll be fired by halftime.
I'm telling you right now.
I'm in Jacksonville.
You guys realize this is not the. You got to understand. This is not about to be the Dolphins against the Jags. I'm telling you right now. This is about to be Tua versus Lawrence. He's gonna do what he did to Kyler. He's out to beat him.
Yeah,
and he wants to make up for that Clemson loss, and he has a better team right now. You watch. I'm telling you right now. I got out of any game on the schedule, this is the utmost confidence we win this game.
The only bigger shit show than Miami is Jacksonville.
The only way we lose this game is if the defense doesn't do enough. And the thing is, Trevor Lawrence is turning the ball over a ton, bro.
Yeah, consistently.
So,
and
I trust our defensive coaching staff to
weeks,
deal with the rookie who's pushing the ball and not protected like Mac Jones was by McDaniels.
I mean, our corners are banged up.
Right.
I don't know, bro.
But bro, their number one receiver, their number one receiver's out.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel. Look,
Westbrook is
there's
out.
No reason.
No, DJ Sharp.
No, Sharp. Yeah.
Oh, Sharp.
There is no reason.
They got no
why
one
the
to
Dolphins.
be. Their only
They
threat
got
right now is Laviska Shenault. Is that's the only fucking.
And he's not even a true.
I'm not worried about
it
because Marvin Jones ain't been shit. Okay,
yeah, he's MIA. He's MIA.
Like James
Marvin
Robinson
Jones
is the only
out.
offensive player I'm worried about. And last
True.
year he was bomb last year against us, but he wasn't enough to beat us.
Yeah, look, don't get me wrong. I agree. There is literally zero reason, even as bad as the Dolphins have been, and it's true. They actually are ahead.
Like
of
if
us
you
in
lose
statistical
this,
categories.
if you lose this, Greer and Flores should not be on the plane ride back from London.
That's what I'm saying. They should be.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're done. They're not getting back on the plane.
Hey, how close
no
do you
reason.
With
think
that
Ross
disaster
is?
Urban Meyer has it right now, bro.
Man.
Like players
There's
saying they
no
laughing
way.
at him and shit. There's
No
no
way.
way you should be losing this game.
Hey,
We
hey,
will
Reese,
run them
how
out of
close?
Miami.
How
just not
close do you
sure
think
they don't
Ross
find
is to pulling the trigger though?
What?
I think he'll fire him this offseason.
To get rid of
Fire
both.
Meyer ain't gonna last.
No, bro, listen.
I think it's gonna be this offseason they're gonna get fired.
No, I'm telling you what's good. Yes, the offseason. But what's going to happen is he's going to tell them, and we've even heard reports that he's even.
I don't want to
already
hear
said
no
this
new 5-year plan, Dylan. I don't want to hear
Guys,
Ross has already told Greer. Ross has already told Greer this. We've heard some of the reports. Go get Watson because that's what he thinks is going to fix the situation. That's going to be the only way he's going to be.
I've also been told that.
Can't be 5 years.
Okay, so I got some info I'm going to drop on the Patreon because I got some stuff about Watson today. But one thing I just been slacking. One thing I was told about with Watson was he's basically let them know if you trade for him and it doesn't work out, you guys don't take the fall because he did what I wanted.
How does that work?
So if they trade
Ross?
for if they trade for Watson, if they trade for Watson and he gets indicted and he doesn't see the field till 2023, that will not be one of the reasons why they get fired. Let's put it that way, right?
Ross will take that on the chin.
Ross will take that on the chin. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. And that's what I'm saying, because we've already heard, some of the reports that he's already told them that that's going to be the way that he can save his job. So you couple those two things, and that will be what ends up happening. If they have a shit show and they lose to the Jags,
how do you go from loving Tua 2 years early?
This is sick.
It makes no sense.
It never makes
because
sense.
It's microwave society, Rhino. Microwave
he's
society, Rhino.
desperate.
Ross wants a championship like at all costs.
He's desperate.
Right.
He's
He wants
old
it
as
at all
fuck,
costs,
and he
right.
fucking.
And it's a microwave society.
Yes, that's true. But
this is sick, man.
Specifically with this situation and in
If
the
we trade
context
for Watson before his shit is settled,
Oh,
I know, bro.
I'm just saying it's the most Dolphin thing that's ever happened.
Yeah,
That's super toxic.
I said it, bro.
Fucking gamble
Desperation
your
is a stinky
future.
cologne, my dude. It's a stinky fucking cologne.
Let's be honest.
It's all good.
Hey, well, guys, I got to get out of here.
Later,
All right,
Todd.
Todd.
All right, Todd.
Yo, how's it going?
But I'm
Rhino,
telling you
great
guys,
seeing you again, man.
You see it,
Real, man.
Peace
But
out.
this
This is what's going to happen. They're
Later.
going to miss the playoffs by one game. Everyone's going to calm down. Fan base, Ross, everyone. They're going to bring everyone back, make a few changes. Next season's going to start again. First 4 or 5 games, 1 or 2 wins, slow start, same thing, rinse and repeat. That's how I see it. That's how I see it's going to go.
Nah,
because
if they don't meet Ross's expectations,
the team is going to play
changing.
better.
I think
I think
if Tua,
if it happens,
I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying history tells me that's not true.
No, that's not true. That is definitely not true. He's fired. Ross has fired every single one of his coaches with 3 years. He gives his coaches 3 years. It doesn't matter if it's year late, year too soon, whatever. You can say whatever.
You may not say it's important.
No. What I'm saying is that doesn't matter with what I'm saying. My point is that when you look at the record, every single coach had 3.5 years at the most, and that was because they did get fired.
Right?
Yes, and that was because they got fired halfway through the season, and that was the half year. But every single coach he has fired at 3 to 3.5 years, every single one without fail.
Because the 3-year contract.
Go look at it.
Yeah, go look at it. Because of a 3-year contract.
Well, not all of them.
Every one of them.
But what I'm saying is, the expectation is, the expectation.
Hold on. I hear what you're saying, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying there's some things that don't add up. They all had 3-year contract with a 4th-year option. Okay, I will say that's why they fired him when he fired him. To me, a year too late.
No,
Same thing.
It's because Ross gives his dudes 3 years. He gives his coaches 3 years. That's it.
Closed on a 5-year contract.
That doesn't mean shit.
It means
doesn't
everything.
No, it doesn't, bro.
Of course
it
does.
mean
What
a
do you
damn
mean?
thing.
Of course it does.
He's saying, hey, Dylan,
they're not going to honor a
Dylan,
5-year contract.
If you don't want to see it, that's your issue.
Dylan, what he's saying is that Philbin and Gaze had 3-year contracts with a 4th-year option. So he fired them without the option, considering that Flores signed a 5-year one. So obviously the recurring the system that he works with is 3 years and then you're out. But in Flores' case, since he signed a 5-year, it might be more of a leniency into the 4th year.
I want him gone. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you.
No, but he's only getting more desperate as he gets older, bro. So why do you think he's
all
of a sudden
105? He's not worried about time. I don't believe that. He's a billionaire. He's getting baby blood and genetic.
That dude getting a new heart transplant.
All right, I mean, if that's what you think, sure.
On that Tom Cruise.
Hey, Dylan, it's gonna be 20 years later. We just say, man, this man Ross still on the team.
Dylan, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't agree. That's all.
It's going to be 2041, and Dylan's petition to get rid of Ross is still going to be alive and well.
Hey, somebody just signed it the other day, so I convinced another one.
There you go. What are you up to?
Hey, I don't know. I actually haven't even looked at it in a minute, but I just got an alert in my email that someone fucking just signed it the other day. So I was like, cool, good stuff.
Chris Greer?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Desperate, man. They're desperate.
We'll see, bro. We'll see.
Honestly, bro, I think if Tua reels off a couple of these games, he's going to have the upper hand to say if Flores can stay or not. Because it's clear that without Tua, this team cannot win, really, with any other quarterback.
That's true, And remember, that's what I wanted him to get, that cachet in Ross's office, and this losing streak might have bought him it, especially if he comes back and wins. Like, if he wins 9 of the last 12 and we still miss the playoffs, he can still sit there and say, well, I'm like 16-6 as your starter, bro.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Just see it.
Right.
Yo, you guys know, right? Without Tua Tagovailoa,
I'd love that.
Brian Flores is, I believe, 8-16.
Right. It's enough. It's enough to say, if he balls out, he should have that opportunity to say or nay to keep Flores, considering Flores behind the scenes has been
don't tease me, boys.
Not so nice.
Cheering even harder on Sundays.
Hey, Dylan.
Let's go,
I mean
baby.
that would be a good situation because then that solves the quarterback situation, and then you don't have to mortgage your future on Deshaun Watson.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
So
You know what
that would,
sucks? You know what sucks?
and then you could
We're
still
gonna
get
be
rid
like,
of the dickheads
fuck,
in
we
charge.
wasted 2 years of the 4 years in the option.
Well, yeah.
But
Yeah,
I think if we turn it around,
that's
Tua
inevitable
stays.
at this point.
Yeah, I think too.
Well, I
as long
hope
as we do right
that
by
would be
him,
ideal.
I
for
think
sure.
I think it'll be straight.
Let me ask you this: if you're the GM, he wins. He only loses to the Bills,
The Ravens.
Champs.
the Ravens, and let's say the Titans.
The Titans.
And he beats every other team remaining on this, like including Carolina, and he beats New England.
The Saints.
He beats New England again right at the end of the year.
10-win season.
What are you doing? You go 10-7, so you miss the playoffs again, barely. But he goes 9-3 in his final 12 games, and the only teams he lost to are legitimate. Like, even though the Ravens look like what they look right now, if they got in the playoffs, they're the type of team that could still win a game, right?
What did you ask? What's the more important?
Right.
What would you do? What would you
or
do?
To find out if Tua is the quarterback.
It's to find out if he's the quarterback.
There's your answer.
I mean,
And they only need Tua to play like he did in the Arizona game against one of those three teams. He'll win one of those three games against Tennessee, Baltimore,
what we need to
he'll beat
do is
Tennessee.
we need that too in the Arizona game. Okay, someone that said this. It is popping off in Crypto's house. This is what you're gonna need from. You know what we need from Tua in these 12 games? We need that. Someone said this to me today. We need that 300-yard plus 3 or 4 touchdown, no interception game where he looks dominant. If you get that and he goes 8-4 or 9-3, and you get that in there, all that stuff should be go to bed.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And they should build exclusively to amplify all of what Tua has showed you with little to no help. As far as availability,
like if you guys think about it,
around him.
He's going to be rusty this Sunday. Yeah. But the Jags and the way the Falcons are playing,
it's a good tune-up game.
Perfect warm-up game to get him ready for Halloween with the Bills to make it at least competitive. You know what I mean?
And that's when Tua. That's
and here's
when
the
Tua
other thing,
goes,
boys. The Bills ain't going to be able to throw those looks at us again. We're going to be prepared for that shit this time around, right?
Right. Corner blitz.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, bro. Like,
yeah, they're not doing that again.
Tua picked it up the second time. Malcolm Brown just was fucking in La La Land.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, Tua's not my issue.
He didn't know what was going on.
That's when Tua goes to Ross and says, build me a no line and watch what I can do.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
He should say,
get me protection.
Brian Dabble and see what we can do.
Hey, Reezy, remember when you said Saban should come back?
Oh, yeah.
Lord.
Hey.
Nick Saban.
Do you remember when I had the Sarkisian shirt that I was selling and shit? Sarkisian for head coach.
After this year, man, anything is possible. It's so weird. Everything's so weird.
But shout out to John Gruden for getting canceled, though, bro.
Man,
Chucky is mad right now.
It's crazy. We was just talking about that Dave Chappelle shit.
The Raiders,
exactly.
Derek Carr has that like MVP season, like season 4 or 5 years ago. Then he gets hurt before they can make the playoff run. Now they look like they can make some noise. This shit breaks out. Like they cannot. The Raiders as an organization, cannot catch a break. Is John Madden dead?
They're more toxic than us.
No, I think he's alive.
Is John Madden still alive?
Yeah, I think he made
Yeah, he's still here.
Damn.
And he was a heavy smoker too back in the
boy,
day.
he knows turkeys, man. He's living
still alive.
Yo, Rhino, you remember when we were backstage and we were watching? Were you there when we were watching the John Madden Mad TV skits? The popping popcorn and like all that stuff.
Mad TV. That's
Do you remember when what's his face would Will Sasso would do Madden?
Yes.
No, not Will Sasso. Not Will Sasso. It's the guy who does the ironic enough.
I want a cookie.
The guy who does the John Gruden impersonation, the one who's always on Fox.
Right.
Oh yeah.
He's from Mad TV, right? So he used to do Madden back then, bro. It's hilarious, bro.
Damn,
if we go backstage, I'll show you. If we go backstage, I'll show you.
He did Madden better than Madden.
Yeah,
That
bro.
was
It's hilarious. Dude, when he did the when he did the Vagisil and he's like drawing, like he starts drawing where it goes and stuff like that. Like, because you know how Matt will always say, well, you gotta put it right here, and then you gotta go right. You got this going on right here,
and then boom.
Yeah, and then boom. Somebody disconnected. Yeah, Frank Caliendo. Yeah, that's it.
Frank Caliendo.
Oh man,
The nail gun.
yeah.
The nail
Oh
gun.
yeah, the nail gun. When he's trying to make the birdhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, classic, man.
That was so funny.
Yo, honestly, him and Summerall were the best ever. No one will ever be better than Madden.
That was a good
Matt
team.
And Summerall.
That was a good
now,
team.
I know Summerall's dead because he had one foot in the grave in the 90s. So I know he ain't around. You can't tell me he's still alive.
Oh Lord.
He was
place is what's his name? McMichael
so
and
funny if
Madden.
he's still alive.
That's
Yeah.
second place.
Madden's my favorite football announcer ever, man. Like, remember when he did the turkey and he did the turducken?
He was entertaining.
Yeah, and he had the extra. He had the like I don't know where they got the bird. Yeah, the bird had like extra legs on it. Yeah. Like they got it from like nuclear facility and like fried it up. Like
it was a
crazy,
mutated turkey.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And then he draw. You got this leg right here. Yeah, you got this leg over here. Oh, classic.
What a character.
Yeah,
I still can't play Madden though, man. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
I love the coach. Hate the game.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to get bored of it. I'm not gonna lie.
Just bad at it. So that's what it is.
Trash, man.
All right, let's get into final thoughts as we're about to hit 2.5 hours here. Martin, start with you, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Oh, by the way, 304 of you in the room. Me, Martin, and Mr. Ballgame, who's in the comments right now, yelling in all capitals. We're gonna be breaking down the good, bad, and the ugly of all the all 22 tomorrow. I'll start breaking it up in a couple hours when it releases. But go ahead, buddy.
It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, man. It's gonna get good, man. And reason I appreciate you for having us on today, man. Good breakdown. And again, this is gonna be one of those games where we're really gonna see exactly what we have as a team. These first couple games, all rough, including the Patriots game. And if we can finally turn it around, Tua comes back, we figure out how to really move this offense. We don't run the ball under 10 times a game. We really have to
40 yards.
We have to take it up another notch, man. We have to really, make it definitive that we're a better team than what we showed the last couple of weeks. So, let's see what happens. But again, if we lose to Jaguars in London,
Martin, you gonna come down this hole, man?
I'm 30 feet deep, bro, with my nose. Still. I'm at my goggles on.
Don't worry, bro. Pyro's like Saddam Hussein in that hole. You got Snickers bars and Mars bars for days, bro. Good, bro.
I am jumping.
We got a mini bar down here. So
if we lose to a Jacksonville-led coach that is on code red as far as his reputation, then we're done. We're done for, bro. But let's see what happens, man. Let's see.
Who's more worried about grinding that? I'll stop.
Yeah, let's stop there, bro. But Fins up, man. Fins up.
Yo, Martin, it was you who I talked to, right? Like about Urban Meyer. Do you think that he was like that in all the college states, but because they're towns and cities where college rules and you got to keep that stuff under wraps, you'll never go against the head coach. But now that he's the coach of Jacksonville, where no one gives a damn and everyone will say whatever they want, now it's getting out what kind of an animal this guy is.
At the University of Florida, I remember visiting at Gainesville, and they had a Tim Tebow statue carved out in front of a restaurant, right? And I was like, damn, bro.
Of course they did.
They treat this guy like a god. I can imagine what they do with the head coach. And he didn't want to leave. And he had killers on his roster, like straight up. So all I'm saying is
legitimate.
This dude, like legit. So all I'm saying is I can imagine what he used to do.
Why just say his name, Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez.
All I'm saying is I believe when you're in Gainesville and you're the head coach of the University
only Martin
of Florida
would bring
Gators,
up the fact that a coach has shooters on his team.
I mean, it's the real. But
it's
not
the shooters, baby.
But it's not so much was I think that was manifested through the leadership of You know, we can go that deep, bro. It might have been because of the leadership of Urban Myers why it never really, you know, dawned on Mr. Hernandez that this isn't right. Because you know, pretty much, you know what I mean. So I'm just saying, man.
Urban taught him to load his first clip.
Oh
right, right. He's like, look, son, this is how you do it, you know. But look, it's
son. Remember, always leave one in the chamber just in case.
So long as it's not hollow points.
I don't think this is anything new because he looked very comfortable, doing what he was doing on the dance floor or whatever, wherever he was doing. You know, it's nothing new. It's
Urban Meyer about to hire John Gruden as his new offensive coordinator too.
It's nothing new, bro. I don't think so.
He took a page
and then they'll get
from
to Sean
Trump's
Watson
book.
as well.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Rhino, the return of the God of the Mod Squad. Final thoughts, buddy.
Yes, sir.
I just think the way I feel is that it's just going to be rinse and repeat, man. Where they're going to play well, they're going to miss the playoffs by a game. Everyone's going to feel happy and good about it, and they're going to come out start next year,
rinse and
repeat,
the
same thing all over again, and then we're going to be going, why didn't we fire this guy in 2021? This is how I feel, and the only way I get out of that is next year we come out and we start good, and he's still there, but. I just don't have a good feeling about it. I have a good feeling about the rest of the year. I think Tua's going to do what he does, and I think he's going to make good connections with Waddle and receivers, and the offensive line is going to play better because he's back there. But for the franchise, I just see the cycle. It's just over and over, and I don't know how we're ever going to break that stuff. It's depressing. I'm not positive at all. I'm almost down
at the same time.
Come on, Martin. Rhino, come on down.
So it's got Aaron, and I'm there.
Come on down.
Yo, I just got to say this.
Rhino Sith, come on down.
Mark Andrews is having a hell of a game right now.
Daryl, to bring it back, bro.
What's going on, buddy? Daryl.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. First things first, shout out to all you guys. And as I said before, it's always a pleasure to get you guys' perspective. And shout out to everybody in the Dolphin fan base who still are trying to keep hope alive, despite all the evidence to the contrary that there's nothing to be hopeful for right now.
What's up? That's what's up.
Nevertheless, the one thing, regardless of where I am, whether it's around town in South Florida or whether it's on social media or on a stream like this, the one thing that everybody seems to ask is why, when, or if. Why aren't changes being made? When are we going to see the players with talent actually show something? Or what if this guy leaves and balls out and goes elsewhere? When you have an organization that has more questions surrounding why, when, or if, that organization usually does not go anywhere, unfortunately. And a lot of times in sports, when you ask yourself why certain people don't want to work with Brian Flores, someone mentioned this earlier, because players talk and they know more than what they like to let on. Yeah. Football is not just a livelihood for these guys. It's what they love. And nobody's going to want to run the risk of having you take all their pride and joy away from the game that they fell in love with before they even knew that they can make millions of dollars playing it. Also that they can deal with the politics and the bullshit that come with being in Miami. Miami right now at this point when it comes to sports is very much a facade. It might look good on the surface, but the more that you dive deeper and deeper, you realize that there's way more to it than that meets the eye. So you hope that, while some of us are still living on this earth, that won't be the case. But unfortunately, like a gentleman just said, this is a cycle that's been going on for many years now. And Fins Faithful, although it's very much a thing, a lot of people, I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, but a lot of people who are part of the Fin Faithful and fans who've been fans of this team ever since, even before I was born, they're starting to lose hope now. So you hope that's enough to wake up some people, but I don't know. My mindset, I can't speak for everybody else, but my mindset is when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa and everybody else, even if it's those two Humpty Dumpty receivers, Devontae Parker and Preston Williams, because they got eggshells for limbs, but it's like, enjoy them while it lasts. Enjoy it while it lasts. That's all I got to say.
Oh, that was classic. Well, this guy always brings the heat.
Amen.
He always brings the heat. Dylan, your turn to follow that one up.
Daryl's fabulous. No, it's fine. Daryl did wonderful as usual. I have no shame in following that. So thanks for having me. Great conversation. Like I said, I'm not quite as optimistic, but I am hopeful that, things can get better and turn around. But we'll see, man. I mean, it's a linchpin game coming up. You know, we should expect that they win, but Dolphins do Dolphins things, so we shall see. Fins up. And these Ravens making a damn game of it, man.
Yeah, I'm watching this. Florida born, your final thoughts, buddy?
Oh man, the key word of the season is accountability, and we really got to hold this front office accountable. I'm just praying to God that Tua comes in and really shows that he is our franchise quarterback, and we can get rid of this front office and start over with Tua. Fins up.
Fins up.
Mm-hmm.
Pyro, your final thoughts, buddy?
Well, my final thought is we're gonna lose to the Jaguars. So get ready.
God.
You guys,
Here we go.
Everything's coming to fruition. We're losing our 2 starting cornerbacks. I mean, life is good, man. You just gotta enjoy this shit. I'm telling you guys, enjoy this shit.
Enjoy the misery.
That's a good hole, huh, Pyro?
Man, pick up some whiskey over here. We good over here, man. We got some cookies.
You got any pickles? You got any pickles?
Man, we got a sandwich.
Pyro always sucks on a pickle before he goes to bed.
Dang it, man. We good over here, man. We got a freaking Dagwood. Let's get
it.
Crypto, your final thoughts?
Yeah, this is a crazy game I'm watching here. He almost fumbled again on the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy. But yeah, I tell you what, Dolphins starting that 12-game winning streak starting Sunday.
Oh my God!
Actually, it's on the way. Get ready, buckle up. What you call it?
Okay.
So there you go, Pyro. Looks like Flo's not gonna lose his job until 2023.
No.
This guy's full of bold predictions today.
Wowzers. Perpetual shit.
G-Man, your final thoughts, buddy?
Well, I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Hopefully they get another lineman because we probably need it. I still think Austin Jackson shouldn't be playing, but I guess guard is all right for now. Hopefully Tua's come back, he balls out, and they see that Flores is really a fraud. They get Brian Dowell and we get it rolling.
G-Man, man.
God
Welcome
damn.
to the club, man. Welcome to the club hole.
Shame.
Hey, I still believe in Tua, baby.
We missed you, Rhino, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Long time.
Yeah, bro, it's actually literally a Star Wars reference. There's been like a loss of balance in the Force since he left, bro.
No shit.
Like
No. We held it down. We held it down for a minute.
Oh no, we'll talk. We'll talk when we go backstage. But there's been
I know.
a shift in the balance. So, all right, guys, I'll be back tomorrow night with Martin and
Overtime
with the homie ball game,
spoil it.
and we'll break down the all 22 tomorrow. So until tomorrow night, I'll see y'all here around 9:30. Everyone, have a good night. Enjoy overtime of Monday Night Football, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. Hit that like button. Fins up all day, every day.
Peace. Yes, sir.
Shit out of it.